we can begin with this little forward I wrote. So just bear with me. So this world is new. These are not our waters. This is not our earth, nor our sky. All of us hail from worlds apart, disparate in their form and in thought, each wondrous and unique, and each ravaged by horrors, great and terrible. But this world is new. Here we have found a second home, and with it, a second chance. We are met by the wonders of strange peoples, as varied amongst themselves as they are from us, and yet more alike than we dared hope. This world is a gift for all, and it must not be squandered. The evils that drove us into darkness cannot be allowed to flourish here. This world is new. It may well be our last. Remember this always and strive ever for a brighter future. In the names of the new gods and in the memory of the old, this we swear. Amen.
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 You awaken to the sound of these words as Burberry, your travel companion, is finishing his morning prayer. The two of you have made camp in a small glade just off the road with a beautiful view of the Emerald coastline. Overhead, the sky is clear, though fog still hangs thick in the lowlands ahead of you. From your current vantage, you can see these low-hanging thick clouds sprawling out over the glistening sea. The air is cool and alight with the sounds of bird song and the faint crackling of your small fire. Through the haze, mountains are visible to the west, and low on the horizon to your east, the distant peaks of nearby islands, while the road from Handalar stretches ever northward towards Freeport beside you. You've been traveling now for 6 days, and by your best guess, you are almost halfway to your destination. And as you rouse yourself, rub the sleep from your eyes, how do you think your trip has been going so far? Noel.
Oh, Noel. Sorry, I thought you said Burberry.
Burberry has just finished praying. He's preparing his spells and getting ready for the day next to you.
I think my trip has been going very well. I actually did have a question for Burberry. If you are done praying, may I ask you something?
I believe so. What would you like to ask?
Well, it has been fun heading up north with you, and I guess I'm just curious. How long would you like for this to be a thing? How long would you like to travel together?
Sorry.
Morning air is a
Admittedly,
little thick.
yes, quite. Admittedly, it has been quite preferable to travel with someone. It can get a little. She pauses for a long time. It is more interesting with someone who doesn't share my thoughts.
Well, there is no better way to pursue creative endeavors than to have someone to bounce ideas off of. And I don't know, I think this is preferable to traveling alone.
Most definitely. He nods.
Things have been going well.
Yeah, and Noelle just kind of sits for a minute and writes in her journal and tries to sort of capture the beauty of the morning in her poetry book.
Okay. while Noel is writing, Burberry, is there anything that you want to do before you guys break camp?
Burberry is trying to pack up his camp and make sure everything fits correctly.
Okay.
I feel like he is furtively writing notes in his journal because Kat forgot to do stuff earlier and she apologizes. Don't mind me.
How could you?
Or did you forget something that you needed?
I forgot the name of a thing and I was gonna comment on it, but I forgot what the name was. And it's
Was it anything out of the primer that I might be able to help you with?
No, I got it. Okay.
Continue.
Okay. Hopefully Cleo shall have our backs in the further. Or perhaps the god of open roads. Full of promise.
I have to be
But
honest.
promise is nothing.
I don't know how you remember all these. There's so many more than I thought.
It's a lot of writing and a lot of tabs.
I see.
You just like look down at the notebook, and it's like all the pages have been torn out and stuffed back in. They're just like pieces of paper like poking out in every direction. Some of it color coded, some of it not.
So
Like the messiest organized book.
It's accurate.
I just subtly like cringe a little bit, having a kind of a history of bureaucracy.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's so dirty.
Just as a reminder, DM, where are we going specifically? We're 6 days out from where?
So you guys just left a city called Handalar, which is it was a dwarf-founded city on a river to the south of where you are currently, about a week back. You guys reached Handalar after kind of cutting eastward through sort of the central mountain range that runs down sort of the eastern portion of Lythor. It's coming towards the end of summer, beginning of fall, so it's been like warm, sunny, beautiful weather. Like this is the perfect time of year to actually make that crossing because you're moving into highlands that in the winter are borderline impassable. It's just snowy and miserably cold and not a good time to make that trip. So Noelle, you've been moving in this direction independently, I think, before you guys met up in Handalar.
Yeah.
And you're now both heading towards Freeport, just kind of meandering along the coast northward towards warmer climes.
That sounds nice.
So, is there anything else you guys want to cover before we break camp here?
No, I think I'll finish up my writing and just pack up the camp.
Should we be packing, or should we have an umbrella out? What's our weather looking like?
First roll of the game, then. Give me a perception check.
Both or just Burberry?
Whoever's looking at the weather.
Sure, I'll take a look. First roll,
13.
natural 20.
Oh yeah.
And with Noel's perception bonus, that is a 24.
Damn. Okay, yeah. So Burberry, you look out and the sky is clear this morning. It's foggy. Like if you look ahead of you, the land kind of dips down to meet the ocean. You're kind of standing on kind of like a bluff right now, overlooking the ocean, maybe like a few hundred feet up from sea level. But up ahead, in the coming miles, it starts to drop, and you can see fog up ahead. But overhead, the sky is clear. The sun is rising. It's picturesque. Noelle, with that 24, however, you have been kind of sensing this change in the wind over the past couple of days. And today, as you kind of fill your lungs, you take that big deep breath of morning air, It's a little more pungent. It's a little heavier, and kind of looking out over the horizon, you can see, while it's clear overhead, there is just like the faintest line of clouds hanging over the ocean, and those had not been there the day before. The wind is currently blowing inland, and you get the sense that it could very well begin to rain later today.
Huh, actually, good call, Burberry. We might actually need a umbrella later today.
I'm very glad that I have the wide-brimmed hat, but unfortunately the sides tend to sag when they get too wet.
DM, would I have an umbrella in my disguise kit as a prop?
Give me a just give me a d20, just a random roll. Let's see what you got.
9.
9. Yeah, okay, that's not great. I'm gonna say you have one, but you know it's a prop umbrella for stage. This is not gonna protect you from the rain.
Right.
It's just like linen stretched over a
Yeah,
wooden
just
frame.
imagine like a half size umbrella that's just kind of
Yeah,
janky.
it's really not suitable for what you need it to do. It's nice looking though. It's a good prop.
I just sort of put the
Would you like to borrow my extra hat?
Sure, why not?
He hands you a hat that looks exactly like the one he's wearing, except it's khaki.
That doesn't really match my aesthetic, but it will do. No, thank you very much.
There's no other end to see you clash. It's fine.
Not yet.
Right. Well, with that, you guys finish stashing your goods back in your packs, clear out your campsite, and begin moving northward along the road. So, as you begin your day's journey, how fast are you guys going?
Well, I don't believe
I think
we
we're in a
have.
hurry,
sorry, what did you
right? Are we in a hurry? I don't feel like we're in a
I
hurry.
don't think we're in a hurry. I think just a normal pace is fine.
Okay. So then go ahead and give me a perception check, each of you, for your day's journey.
Alright. Another 9. So 13.
9. It's 9.
Another 9. Oof.
Well, no, I rolled a 6, but I have a 9.
It has been a fairly peaceful, quiet journey for the two of you so far. Since leaving Handlar, you've really only crossed paths with a few travelers, and beyond that, seen little else. And the same holds true today. There's a couple of wagons that pass your way. One small group of dwarves making their way southward. But other than that, it's just the two of you and the open road, and little else. You're just sort of left to enjoy what's left of the clear weather. Around noon, true to your observation earlier, Noel, you do see those clouds beginning to draw ever closer to the coast. They're dark but scattered. It doesn't look like it's going to be a heavy rain, and by the time they are directly overhead, there is sort of a faint light drizzle that you guys are kind of walking in and out of. You find dry patches like every other hour where the rain hasn't begun to fall yet, and it's just kind of this light, gentle rain. It's not nearly enough to soak you or chill you to the bone. Aside from the rain, the weather is fairly warm and comfortable. And aside from the rain, the walk is beautiful. You've got these picturesque mountains off to your left. You've got the ocean sprawling out on your right. You have these swaying palm trees kind of lining the road on either side. To your left, beyond the palm trees, a thicker forest of broadleaf trees is growing out and kind of stretching up to the feet of the mountain. It's a lovely, lovely day of walking, if not fairly quiet and wet and maybe a little dull. However, as your day draws to a close, the sun begins to set, somewhat obscured by these clouds that are now kind of hanging overhead. You do see up ahead this sort of faint glimmering light off the right side of the road, between the road and the ocean. It's maybe like half a mile out at this point. But it's this faint flickering sort of firelight. And it's the first sign of sort of encampment of any kind that you've come across today.
Does it look?
Do you think?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, it's fine. Do you think that looks more like a camp, or perhaps an inn of some kind?
I'm not sure, but I would not mind staying in a more populous area for a night.
DM, clarification on one of the items. So, as a far traveler background, I get a map of my homeland. Is that something that would be like the entire continent, or like just the Midlands, or what?
That would probably be like Alia's territory,
Okay,
specifically.
gotcha. And I guess just generally, do I have any sense that there's like a city nearby where we currently are, or are we not near a place where a city might be?
I guess if you're looking around for some sign, give me a perception check, or if you're just trying to recall.
I'm just trying to recall like history of this area, because I've lived on this continent basically my whole life.
Yeah.
So just like, do I think like, wait, would there be a city here?
Go ahead and give me a history check then. Yeah.
Okay.
Distance.
What'd you say, Kat?
With assistance.
DM, are we having assistance for this?
What does Burberry know about this region? Yeah, sure.
I mean, he was a tradesman, so he might have passed something similar.
That's possible.
He was around a kid.
It's possible.
Oh, the assistance was relevant. +0, but I rolled a 19, so 19.
Oh, okay. So the 19, I'd say you are passingly familiar with the geography around here. You've seen a map or two, although you don't possess one currently.
Mhm.
I saw a map once. It was
It's
great.
only been a week. There shouldn't be like a city anywhere nearby. And this faint light is not nearly bright enough to be like a large town or even a village. As you walk closer to it, it just kind of looks like one isolated fire, just kind of on the beach. You're not exactly sure what this is. So how do you want to approach
Have
that?
we seen anything like it on our travels thus far? Like, have people been camping out on the beach?
You've seen a couple campfires. There have been some parties that have kind of set up like earlier in the evening. You know, just as the sun is already setting, they've set up and started a bonfire and are now kind of like hanging out on the beach as you walk past them. So it's not uncommon.
Okay.
You've seen a couple of those.
Oh, what do you think, Burberry? Should we have company tonight?
Company is always preferable, especially because it will allow me to spread the word.
Right, yes. Sure, let's go check it out.
All right, so full steam ahead. You
The
guys
convert.
continue forward, unconcerned, and drawing up to this light. You see that it is a large bonfire that has been set up on the beach. I'd say the beach is probably like 50-ish feet wide at this point. And it reaches from the ocean up to this sort of sandy bluff. It's sort of like a dirt cliff that kind of rises about 10 feet up and then levels off into kind of grass and shrubs. palm trees kind of rising out of it every, 10 or 20 feet, and stretches up to the road where you guys are walking. Next to that bonfire, you can see that there is this long, like half log table, sort of like a palm tree has been split down the middle, and that flat surface in the middle has just been turned on its end and set up in the beach as a makeshift table. There are sort of makeshift cuttings of palm tree that have been set up as these stump-like seats around that table. And on the bluff overlooking this scene, there is one singular shack. There's a faint bit of light coming out of the windows in the front door. And stepping up to it, you can see it's made predominantly out of driftwood, and what looks to be kind of portions of wrecked ships. You can see that the walls in places kind of bend and have these like ribbings along them, sort of like the interior of a ship. The roof is made out of this thatched straw-like material, and getting closer to it, you can see it's actually like dried palm leaves that have just been piled and piled and piled and piled on to make this tall, thick sort of straw roof on top. And all around this shack, there's barrels, there's crates, there's a wide variety of detritus that has just kind of been thrown in piles here and there. Fishing nets, old spears, crab cages, just a ton of different equipment. It looks like salvage almost. It's in such rough condition. Like someone's been dredging it out of the ocean and just kind of collecting it and piling it up. And stepping up to this shack, and kind of past it and looking down at this campfire and this table, you can actually see that there are a couple of figures. One of them is tending to the pot that is hanging over this fire on a tripod, and the other is just sort of sitting at the table staring out over the ocean.
What do the figures look like?
At this distance, it's hard to say. It is growing dark, and they are sort of backlit by the fire. You can see one of them is very tall. The one standing by the fire is very tall. The seated one, hard to say.
I wonder if there's some kind of, like, a family event going on. Doesn't seem like they would have a table open if they didn't want people to join them.
Worst comes to worst, we can always ask if we can just set up a camp nearby and hope they don't attack us in the night.
That is a good idea. Maybe we take watches tonight, just in case.
Yes, I'll take the first two.
I think we'll approach.
Okay. So, as you round the side of this building, you see that there is kind of a rough, trod path that leads up to some, really rudimentary, branch log sort of stair steps that kind of descend the bluff, where it's kind of been, dug out. It's a little easier to climb down that way. And stepping down onto the beach and approaching this table and fire, Alarin and Barnaby, you guys hear, shuffling through the sand, the sound of footsteps.
Excuse
Oh. Go ahead.
me? Pardon?
What?
Hello.
Say what?
Excuse me, I'm sorry to intrude. We are just a couple of travelers, and we saw your campfire.
Have you perhaps heard of the good word of Ebirashta?
Oh, you're starting early.
It's important to
I
start
ain't heard nothing
early.
about no Aberashton. I only know about Alis myself.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Alis. Or Alice. Alice? No, I'm not quite sure. Anyways, good to meet you. Why don't you pop a seat? I'll get you some food here.
Can I roll a religion check for Alice?
Yeah. Go for it.
Can we smell the food? Does it smell good?
Barnaby, why don't you give me a tool check with your cooking utensils?
Shit.
That's an 11.
11 brewery? Okay. It's not a hard DC. Alice is one of the central new gods that the Conclave worships and proselytizes for. They are a nature and trickery god. This is a name that you have heard many times. But his accent is very thick, so it kind of threw you initially when he said it.
Alice, I see. Well, I'm glad that you have found an acceptably popular god.
Oh, her and I get along just fine.
So how'd that check come out, Barnaby?
So that check, let's see. What's that?
I had either like Dex or
Is it a proficiency thing?
yeah. I assume he's proficient with cooking tools.
You assume much, kind god.
Yeah, you see, I don't get any proficiencies with tools, so
Oh, Barnaby, so you're just cooking off of like sheer
Gumption.
like instinct here. Yeah.
that is thankfully
With like just like a big wooden stick stirring a pot and like
just like Mao taught me. That's a 18.
18. Ooh, okay. Yeah, shit smells good. Very rich, surprisingly rich. Savory smells coming out of there. That is some exceptional seafood.
Any of y'all ever had gumbo before?
A few times before. Not in a long time, though.
It has
Oh,
been
come on, get a seat. I'll get you a bowl of the bowl.
It's very hospitable of you. Thank you.
Yes.
So-
Perhaps Marks, then.
As
That's
you
word
guys
of
are
mouth.
sort of preparing for dinner, I want to rewind time a little bit, and I want to take a look at what Aloran and Barnaby were doing today before their visitors arrived. So Barnaby, when you wake up in the morning, what does your day look like? What do you start with? How do you get going?
First thing, give myself a good bath out in the ocean. Make sure I'm nice and clean like. Then go ahead and check all my traps. Make sure nothing's dragged itself up on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
See if I caught anything in the traps. If I don't, I reset them if they need more bait. And fish the rest of the day. Various places like rivers, ocean.
Okay. There's definitely a river that's not too far from your shack. Like it's maybe like 100 feet off to the north of you. Very shallow at this point, near the beach. It's very easy to like cross and get into. But if you move a little further inland, you get some more depth to it. There's definitely like lots of fish and crawdads and shit in there.
Shallow parts are good for spearing.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it for old Barnaby. And once I come back, I just put everything I got in the bowl and keep it going.
Just a lot of fishing.
Mm,
All right.
I'm a simple man.
So then let me pose the same question to Aloran here. You showed up at the shack not too terribly long ago. It's been a weekish, roughly. And you've just been kind of slowly recuperating from a very long, arduous trip. How are you doing right now?
Great. Not great.
Okay. So, given that, how do you spend your time at the shrimp shack?
I'd say I mostly just wander by the ocean and then sit down and look at it.
Okay.
They kind of zoned out.
Okay, that's fair. It's you've been through a lot recently, and Barnaby, you've probably seen that since she has shown up and you've kind of taken her in. Um, Not super talkative about it, but she's been a decent enough guest. You know, you can leave well enough alone. That's fair. Do you guys interact at all during the day, or are you just kind of minding your own separate businesses until dinner?
I would probably be talking to her whenever he's doing something. He can't really keep his mouth shut.
I would probably be trying to earn my keep since he's helpful. So I can help him with his daily chores.
I think your gain is really low.
Yeah, just as a heads up, you're super quiet.
Would agree. I know you've been through a lot, but you're going to need to speak up a little bit.
That's the opposite of that.
I'm
Is that
just.
better?
Do I need to yell?
It's a little better.
So Lauren, I feel
That's better.
I can hear myself.
I mean, I can put headphones in if that helps. Or do you want to? Oh, you're hearing them too, huh?
Yeah.
I'll mute you. How's that? Because I can hear you.
Yes, please.
All right. I'm muting Lauren because I don't want to hear her voice, I guess.
Wow. That seems awful rude.
Ow.
Server mute, server Devin. No, I just want regular mute. Okay, there. Try it.
Can you hear me? Is this
Yeah.
better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
Awesome. Nailed it.
So I'd pretty much just help Barnaby,
Mhm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd pretty much just be helping Barnaby with his like day-to-day tasks. Since he's helped me out.
Okay. So, Barnaby's fishing for most of the day, it sounds like. Is there anything else that you need done around the shack, Barnaby, or would she just be kind of helping you fish?
Probably just helping fish, making sure the pocket's stirred every now and then so the bottom don't get burnt.
Fair, fair. Deglazing is very important.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned that word recently.
Be professional chef. Look at you.
It's good to get the fawn off of the bottom. That's flavor right there.
That it is. That it is. The flavor. So good. And y'all can smell it as y'all are sort of getting situated at dinner time. And as this is all happening, Barnaby, with your, I think your passive perception's not. Oh, your passive perception is terrible, actually.
That's about right.
The rest of you guys probably hear the footsteps long before Barnaby does. He's just like, busy getting people seated, getting plates out and bowls and getting the stew all prepared. But you guys hear these heavy footfalls, this kind of coming up from around the shack. And it's accompanied by this clattering sound. It sounds like a wagon almost that's being pulled. And kind of stepping into the firelight around the corner of the shack is this just massive fucking guy. Huge dude. 8 feet tall, like almost as wide as the shack, like broad-shouldered, shirtless, thick head of hair, and kind of stepping down the bluff. He kind of looks like he knows what he's doing here, like he's been here a few times. He immediately finds the stairs down and kind of rounds the fire, and just kind of walks up to Barnaby, who's tending the pot, like taps him on the shoulder. And Barnaby, like out of nowhere, you just feel this giant hand just boom, boom, boom.
Barnaby, I've got your supplies.
Oh, gosh, you scared the bejesus out of me. Good to see you, John.
Yeah, I know I'm a little early. It's good to see you, too.
Well, grab a seat if you want some food. I got the boil already.
Well, I'm always hungry.
I'll get you a good ball. I know the size you like. Go on and set the stuff down there over near the shack.
Okay. John proceeds to
Empty his cart next to the shop.
Okay.
Wherever
So-
I'm supposed to enter that.
Kind of head back up the bluff and start unloading the cart that you brought. I will say it feels good to finally like kind of have reached your destination, or at least halfway there. But reached a destination, seen a friendly face, because it has just been a real shitty week for you. You got that job, and you're like, all right, two birds with one stone. Let me get the cart ready, take it with me. And you have seen nothing over the course of this trip. And at this point, you're like halfway to Handlebar and a little frustrated. Just there's been zero sign of your quarry, and it's starting to weigh on you a little bit, I think. But yeah, you guys are assembled now. Do we want to go through and kind of describe what everyone is sort of encountering here for the first time? I know we've seen character art, but if there's details y'all want to share about what y'all are seeing, we can cover that now.
I actually do have sort of a question before we do anything like that. Given that
Okay.
we are seeing John, Aloran, and Barnaby now, me and Burberry are, what is our sort of relationship with like these species here? Like, what do we know of hobgoblins? What do we know of tritons?
Okay.
Of giants.
And of giant men?
Yeah. I think that given your respective histories, Burberry has probably seen more Tritons than you, but I mean you're both familiar with them. They're not an uncommon sight, especially on the coast. They are pretty like normal people. They're maybe a little brash sometimes, just as a general rule. Like culturally, Tritons tend to be very like forward and uh, real big on addressing the problem and saving the day kind of a thing. They've got a real
Heroic.
not necessarily heroic, but
Hero complex.
go and do it kind of mentality. I would say the half orc is maybe not as familiar, but not super unfamiliar either. Like they're around in most places. They're relatively widespread, not in great numbers anywhere. A half orc this size is definitely unheard of. You have never seen a man this big. Definitely calls to mind Goliaths or Furbolgs, actual like giant kin sorts of people, because he is huge.
Yeah.
This guy.
Probably not half Furbolg, though.
No, judging from his features, you're pretty sure it's not Furbolg.
Not very.
Barnaby though is just give me a history check from both of you just to see maybe like what your familiarity with his kind would be.
Another 9.
If it, a 9?
19.
19. Okay.
3 9s upside down is 666. I think you need to get on out of here.
All right. With a 9, Noel, you have never encountered one of his kind before, and I don't know that you would even immediately recognize him as a hobgoblin initially. He's a tall, red-skinned, pointy-eared, kind of broad-faced, with a very prominent nose figure. And it probably takes like a minute or two before it clicks for you, like, oh, that's what. And then at that point, your mind immediately kind of goes straight to like, what on earth is he doing here? Because to your knowledge, hobgoblins don't live in Lythor. They hail from far across the Sea of Halan and generally don't interact with the rest of the world, as far as you know. Like, everything you've ever learned about Kremlcon and their people has indicated that they are very insular and standoffish. And this guy does not sound
So this is
anything
like the opposite in every way of what I've
Oh,
heard.
yeah. It is so jarring, I think, to have encountered this guy like this. Burberry with a 19. I think you probably have encountered a hobgoblin or two over the course of your life. Uh, but much like Noelle's experience, or not experience, but her upbringing, her education has told her, your experience is that, yeah, these sorts of people, hobgoblins are not this sociable. Hobgoblins are not this cool with other races, and hobgoblins are not from life, like they don't live in Lythor. Your knowledge, this is like mind blown, you know? Very strange.
Well, as far as descriptions go, I mean, I don't really have anything beyond what I've drawn as far as like things to describe.
So just pale skins, light haired, dressed in linens and a red dress with a rapier at your side.
Yeah, just
Vaguely human looking.
what you see is what you get. For now.
That's fair.
Yeah.
What about the rest of you? Is there anything you want to share about your characters?
John, I think probably the striking thing, other than his size, is the polearm he's carrying.
Oh, good point. Yeah,
Just 10-foot, black and gold.
this massive halberd.
Yeah, well, it is technically a halberd, but it's more. I think you can't see it in the picture that's on the screen, but it's got like 3 different blades. It's got a blade on the backside, a blade on the top, and a blade
Like a spear point, like a
pike,
a pike of a hammer, or
and then like a
blade.
axe / crescent.
Yeah, big weapon.
It's 10 feet tall.
I guess I could
And big
describe.
enough.
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, and big enough to fit in John's hand comfortably.
Yeah, right. Because you're humongous. I think the only thing that's like maybe stands out about Noelle is she seems very like dressed very intentionally in how she looks, and she looks like she took time to put this outfit together to make it look nice. But the one thing
Please
that
tell me she whipped off the hat immediately. When
oh yeah, no, she like hid that. She like set that back down on the beach. I think
That's gone.
the one thing that doesn't 100% match her outfit exactly is she has this very very expensive looking and very beautiful rose gold chain necklace with like an opal, or no, sorry, an onyx pendant. Kind of shines in the firelight.
That's nice. It's like a chain, or is it like a pin?
It's like it's a rose gold chain, and then it's got the pendant at the end, kind of at the base.
Okay, gotcha.
If we're talking about accessories like that, John also has like a wolf tooth necklace.
I don't have much to add for Burberry beyond his description, but I will say that whenever he's sitting next to the fire with all the people, you know how like in movies, the person always like looks over the fire at the person who they're talking to?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Seems to be specifically trying not to do that.
Like he's avoiding eye
Okay.
contact with people.
No, like he's avoiding like generally gazing in the direction of fire.
Okay. Just looking away from it.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. But otherwise, still wide brim hat, full beaked face mask covering the entire face and head, and this heavy layered coat and cloak situation you've got going on.
Seems very dusty.
Yeah, he's been traveling for a while.
Yeah.
Okay. Barnaby, Lauren.
He also hasn't sat down yet.
That's fair. So seats have been offered, but Burberry is standing still. Anything from a Lauren or Barnaby about your characters you want to share? Now that we're all assembled.
I think she has like.
You gotta unmute. Are you unmuted?
I'm muted.
Okay, good. It looks muted on mine because I muted. All right, never mind. Continue. This is gonna throw me so bad.
We'll get it figured out.
My character has a few like this, just like an occasional one.
She's all quiet again.
And I'm quiet, staring into the dark sea.
Still a little shell shocked. But yeah, Barnaby, anything from you, guy?
Can I ask a specific about Barnaby?
Yeah.
So the chairs and stuff that are around your house / shop, are they made for your size?
A little mix. There's some big ones and there's some small ones.
Okay. Because I was thinking that'd be very funny since Lauren is very small.
Point out that at the bottom of the cart, after John's finished pulling out all the stuff, he pulls out some like wood pieces and then just unfolds this giant chair for himself.
Okay,
It's
sorry.
It's like a
Barnaby.
reclined pool style chair. And he just sets it up near the fire.
Like he knows, like, yeah, none of these are big enough. I gotta bring my own chair.
Look, I can't find a tree with the stump as big as your rump, all right?
The rump
Okay.
stump.
He's a big boy, he's got a big rump.
I don't blame you. It's hard to find furniture in this.
That's all I'm saying. Anyway,
We're busy tonight, though.
Find anything in your size.
Barnaby looks fairly straightforward. He's got some flannel looking clothes on, even though they don't necessarily look like flannel. And he's missing the ring finger on his right hand. It's mostly just one joint off of the finger. He's got a big ring over that, and got a few piercings. Let's see. Usually carrying a crossbow with himself. Let's see, anything else unique about him? He's got a few lures on his side.
Like a belt of fish hooks.
Yeah, one looks nicer than the others. At least in better shape.
Okay.
And he's got one of them fancy undercuts for his hair, and then looks like it's black and then dyed red at the end. He's got kind of flopped over to one side.
Dye his hair. I'm curious.
You really want to know?
I don't think you want
How
the
old does
question,
this dye
but-
job look?
Dye job looks fairly fresh.
Alright.
You really want to know?
I guess
Does it smell?
You get enough shrimp shells, you can make a dye.
Oh, that is far less gory than I was expecting. Okay, cool.
It was gore for the shrimp.
very strongly of fish.
He does run a shrimp shack.
Yeah, that's to be expected.
I don't smell shrimp, don't smell fish, then I'm in the wrong business.
It's probably not too bad when he's just kind of meandering around with food in his hand, but like if it's just him by himself away from the fire and the pot and everything, it's just like, ooh, okay.
You know, weirdly enough, I imagine that Barnaby can't smell fish anymore.
Probably at this point.
Nose may have gone a little blind.
It's that
You've
one
been at
thing.
this, you've been at this for a while, yeah. All right. Well, so Barnaby, you've got several guests here. What's on the menu tonight, guy? You rolled an 18. What are you cooking?
Gumbo.
We got some boil the boil. It's shrimp gumbo with some corn on the side that's been boiling next to it.
Shrimp grumbo.
Gumbo, not grumbo. I don't even know what grumbo is. It ain't what I'm serving.
Smell the gumbo. It smells delicious, Barnaby.
Thank you.
So, who are you all?
Uh,
Unusual to see too many people out here.
you
I
said
was going to ask once I got all sat down.
Are we all sat down at this point?
Yeah,
Well, I still got to sit down. I got to get something for old Zeke.
John sat down in his giant, like, reclining, like, beach chair kind of thing.
While Barnaby is, I guess, fetching Zeke. I don't know who Zeke is, but I think Noel just asked John, like,
you said his name was Barnaby. What is your name?
Yeah. Wasn't very polite. My name's John.
John. I am Noel, and this is my friend Burberry.
It's a pleasure to meet all of you.
To meet
Have you
you.
heard of the good? Have you heard the good word of Eddie too?
Can't remember the word. Who's this little one?
I think he's talking to Lauren.
I didn't hear what you said.
Lauren, you sound real quiet like again.
I didn't hear what was said to me.
Said him, who's this little one?
Who is this little one?
Oh. Sorry.
He's quiet too.
I got him to get
Am I
close.
quiet? I can try to make myself louder.
May want to try that. Need to speak up. We can't hear you over the
yeah,
word.
I have your
bonfire.
volume at
Sitting too close.
200% on Discord.
Sitting too close to the bonfire, John. Get up closer.
You don't hear me right here.
No.
Barely.
But not
One sec.
much.
We gotta get this girl a mic.
Clearly, we should have done an audio test before we did this, but whatever.
Hindsight is 2020.
That's fair. Next session, we'll be ready.
My name is Lauren. Who are you?
I'm John. I come by this location every so often to drop off supplies for beer. He doesn't get on with the town folk too well.
Did you say beer?
Oh,
Telephone?
sorry, I'm still having trouble hearing Lauren.
Do you
Gotta project, girl.
don't want to yell at my computer?
Get some energy, girl.
That's how it works.
Is that lamp or something?
I know you haven't been feeling right. Eat a bowl of my gumbo and you'll be screaming just right. A little hot, by the way.
What she said.
I look at
Man,
the
I
I look
like
at the
cool
gumbo
down.
suspiciously.
It's a little hot. Hope you like some southern heat.
Did you say you have beer, John? Or did I mishear you?
It didn't say nothing about beer. I'd love a beer.
Me
Beer
too.
would be nice. I haven't had one in forever.
Oh man,
Do
I
you
definitely misheard you.
do you have
Oh, I was saying that I come by to drop off supplies for Barnaby because he doesn't get on with the town folk too well.
Ah, Barnaby, be here.
Got it. Got it.
it all makes sense now?
That's
Heard beer and I was like, can I have one, please?
Has Barnaby joined us at this point?
I'd say yeah. You finish giving bowls to everybody and some spoons and little actually I'd say a bigger bowl of corn for everybody to grab from. And then you can see him pulling on his let's see, right-handed pinky real hard. All right, there you go, Zeke. You're back to normal now. Calm down now.
Did you say another person would be joining us? Zeke?
Yeah, he's right here.
He
He's
named
already
his
here.
What am I seeing?
He's just holding up his hand with the spoon.
Sounds like he named his hands.
He named his hands.
What are you talking about? His family.
I look at John.
Just get used to it.
Fair enough. Well, I have to say, Barnaby, this is very good. You have definitely. I have heard stories of hobgoblins before, but you have immediately shattered any preconceived notions I had of them.
Yeah, I've been told we've been a little different. Not many people not many people like to see it that way. But we live down in the south and had things a little bit different than the rest of them up north at Cramcorn.
Yes, well, you seem perfectly amicable.
Yeah, good to hear it. Figure if we all weren't nice to each other, we'll be over real quick.
Yes, well, it would be nice. I'm curious, is this like a business you run then, or is it more like a food bank where people can just come if they're hungry?
Well, it started out with me just wandering out of the forest, finding the ocean, which I had never seen before. It's a beautiful thing. I love it.
It is.
And set up a shack. Figured I'd better stay here, seeing as I could get all the fish I ever wanted. And well, just came to stay here. And then people started to like the smells coming down from the south, or at least the sea, and came to find me. Asked for some food. I guess I made them pretty good food because soon enough people started coming over and over. I don't always charge them, just whatever people think is fair.
Where are people coming from? As far as I know, there aren't any cities nearby.
Well, you always get wanderers, adventurers, all that type. Sometimes
So I'll
people wash up.
Drop off supplies for him.
Yeah, that's how I found John.
Right, and John, did you say where you come from?
Yeah, it's God, city.
Did we forget our hometown?
Forgot the name of the city.
I literally have the map up right next to me because I know I'm going to need it.
This is my favorite part of backstories.
While we're waiting for this, DM,
Oops.
just to clarify so I can write it down, where did you say that me and Burberry were originally heading to?
Freeport.
Freeport. Okay, good. I actually did write it
Yeah,
down. Right.
Freeport.
Good.
I'm from a city called Handlebar.
Okay, no, you're heading towards Hamilton.
Oh, Handlebar.
you
Where am I? Oh, Helmford.
Helmfirth is what you named it, remember?
I'm from the city of Helmford. It's a little north of here and what the woods a bit more.
Is that beyond Freeport or closer?
It would be closer.
Pretty close to Freeport.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I've ever been there.
Probably not.
Sure.
I will say, Aloran, you're probably not super familiar with the Emerald Coast. I imagine most of your historic work was probably in the Midlands. Oh my god, this is so loud. Jesus.
So epic.
It is. It's like, where are you from?
Barnaby's food is just that good. Highlights everything.
I'll take that explanation. But yeah, not Lauren. Noel. God, getting new names down is gonna be a trial this campaign.
First session's always a little janky with names. It's fine.
Yeah. Noel, your previous posting that you had worked mostly kept you in the Midlands area.
Yeah.
Did not ever come out this way. I think that maybe was kind of what prompted the trip, because it's a long way. But you've heard plenty about the area.
I was gonna say too, since I mainly spent my time, I don't know where Tritons live, but given that I was pretty like in the middle of a continent, I feel like I probably wouldn't have seen many Tritons either, to be honest, unless they live in like big lakes too.
There's some Triton communities in the larger sort of inland seas, for sure. But for the most part, they tend to stick to like coastal areas. Not coastal areas, excuse me. Tritons tend to stick to deep sea areas. They are seen in coastal areas and ports and stuff. But from what you understand, the vast majority of their settlements tend to be like ocean floor. They kind of like their space, but they also are very, very much about like, tending to the environment and the people who pass through their area. Coastal dwellers would be more like sea elves or Vidalcan or turtles.
Okay.
So, as the conversation is kind of winding down. So you guys are probably getting pretty deep into the meal at this point. Just as good as it smelled, this very rich, savory stew, this gumbo. You guys are filling up real good. I think that. Let's see here. Aloran. Aloran has the highest passive perception in the group, so you will be the first one to pick up on this. You hear the sounds of footsteps. Multiple sets of footsteps.
Can I announce that to the group?
By all means.
Okay. Hey guys, I hear a lot of footsteps.
Immediately grabs his weapon.
Barnaby grabs a spoon. Oh, they're gonna need more gumbo.
Where's it coming from?
They are coming from the front of the shack. You guys are behind the shack, so they're coming from like the road, coming around the shack. It sounds like, kind of up on the bluff. And Aloran says this, and John grabs his weapon. Barnaby grabs a spoon. Are the rest of you doing anything?
I'll set down my bowl and start peeking around this shack, see if I see anything.
Okay. Burberry, Aloran.
I'll put my hand on my sword and be holding my.
Okay.
I feel like Burberry is still holding his very hot bowl of soup.
Okay. Has he touched it at all?
No.
Oh, Burberry.
John's already been on high alert, so he's still on high alert.
Okay. So a couple of you on alert. One of you getting ready to serve some guests. And from around the corner comes a pretty sizable group, actually. Kind of stepping out onto the bluff, looking down at the beach at you all, is a group of probably a dozen men. They're dressed like travelers, kind of dusty, long coats and kind of heavy cover wear. Some of it looking pretty rain slicked and stained from a day's travel. All of them wearing wide brim hats and you can see slung over several of their shoulders what look like some light crossbows, and they just kind of look down at the scene, taking you all in as one final set of footsteps continues onward. The crowd parts, and stepping forward in front of them is this tall, thin man dressed in a long, heavy black coat, matching wide-brimmed black hat, leather gloves over his hands. He's got a pale face and this long, wispy, graying hair. And from one corner of his mouth, kind of running up the side of his face, there is a very gnarly, deep scar. And he looks down at you all with this kind of unsettling grin, looking around before catching sight of you, Barnaby. And he says, "You, Mr. Barnaby, looks like you've got guests tonight. It's good to see you, friend." And Barnaby, you recognize this man. He has paid you a visit very regularly, about once a month now.
Inspector.
This is the local tax collector, Willem Grimes.
Even his name is gross.
John know about him?
How you doing, Grammy? Been a while.
No, I never tire of that nickname. It has been, Barnaby. Just about a month, I'd say. So, good to meet all you folks. Looks at each of you in turn and nods. How are you enjoying the meal? Barnaby's a fine cook. I hope he came prepared today. I'm in a very hungry. You wouldn't have any room for us at your table now, would you?
Well, of course, Grandma. We always got room. Got some gumbo right now.
That's my boy. We'll be right down. And Willem just kind of shortly whistles and gestures to his men, who follow him down the stairs onto the beach, where they kind of file in around this table. And I'll take a seat.
Could I get like an insight roll on like what level of hostility there is between Barnaby and this guy? Is it like one way, or are they just like, is there like a passive aggressiveness going on here, and what does it mean, I guess?
Yeah, go ahead and give me an insight check.
I would like to insight for bullshit.
Can I insight that too?
Okay. So, Burberry, you're asking for bullshit? Define bullshit.
Basically, is it just a ploy to get close?
Okay. Aloran, you're asking for
Insight on, like, if that guy's hostile or not.
Okay. And then John, did you want
a history check.
History check. Okay. So just if you know this guy?
If I know him, if he's infamous, famous, if he's nobody knows about him as far as I'm aware.
Okay. Go ahead and roll, and I'm going to just go down one by one here. So, everyone, insight checks except for John, who's doing history.
Okay.
So, roll a d20, and then add your insight score to that. How is it?
Do I say it?
Yeah, you were first, actually. So, Lauren, what did you roll on your insight?
14.
Okay. So, with a 14, you were asking if there was hostility here.
Okay.
I would say you don't pick up any immediate threat off of this guy. His group is all armed. You do notice that. You saw the crossbows immediately, and as they get closer, you pick up. They all are carrying either like hatchets or like machetes on their belts. Um, it's a rough-looking group, um, but beyond just kind of mean mugging as they make their presence known to you all, you don't pick up any outright hostility. And Willem is being cordial, even if he is hella creepy. Um, you're more than welcome not to like the vibe he puts out, but just off of that, like what you feel right now, like he's not here to pick a fight. Um, from what you feel, it's just exactly what you heard. So Barnaby, you did not roll anything. So Burberry,
16 on ploying.
16. All right. Does not strike you as a ploy. I will say that this man has enough men with him. If he wanted to get close, he probably could just get close.
I mean, yeah,
it doesn't strike you as like a manipulative thing. It again, he's very sleazy feeling right off the bat, but nothing outright manipulative happening right now. John, with a history, what did you roll?
15.
15?
Yep.
Okay. I think you've heard about John, or you've heard about Willem from Barnaby, but beyond that, you don't know much about him.
He's never visited my town or.
No, he's never come to Helmfirth. Noel, what did you roll?
I rolled a 19. I was looking for like the tension, like how tense the situation is between Barnaby and Willem, like if there's like potential hostility, like that could turn violent here.
So from Willem, I don't think that you pick up any hostility right off the bat. He's perfectly calm. He's got that thick drawl and a mighty unsettling voice, but he does not seem to be tense or reaching for weaponry. Like he's not on guard at all. His men are sketchy looking, and they are kind of like mean mugging you, but it is more. It looks like kind of just like a show of force, like don't fuck with us, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, Barnaby, I don't want to speak for you, but we've talked a little bit about this individual prior to the campaign. So I'm curious what your reaction is, because I think Noel probably would have picked up on it when this man showed up.
Hospitable as he usually is, but I would say he does give off a little bit of nervousness. He's wringing his hands a little bit every now and then.
Okay. So you do get the sense that Barnaby is maybe not very okay with this.
trying to his best to keep him happy.
Yeah, staying cordial and not necessarily showing any tells, if he can help it, that he is nervous about this.
Okay, good to know.
All right. So, Willem and his men take a seat at the table, and those of you who have the misfortune of sitting directly next to any of his men, yeah, you kind of get some like rough shoulders as they settle into their chair, kind of elbowing you out of the way a little bit. And they all very quickly make themselves at home here, leaning back on their stumps or against the table and looking around, sizing you guys up. But Willem's attention is focused pretty much entirely on Barnaby right now.
Can I elbow those guys down?
You want to elbow him back? Okay, how aggressive do you want to be about it?
Just like a little
Just-
off.
Yeah, like, oh, fucking push me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Okay, so you do that, and the guy next to you, he just kind of looks at you like, you know?
I feel like I'd be getting elbowed by a kid, so.
Yeah. kind of like, the fuck are you doing?
I have to stand up for myself. I'm small.
And then he kind of like nudges the guy next to him and like points at you, like, believe this shit? The guy, like both of them are kind of like looking down at you now.
Can I mimic them?
You just point back, like, you believe this shit?
Yeah, can I do that?
All right. Give me an intimidation check. Fuck it.
And this is how we start our first TPK.
Sorry, guys.
That's all right.
It should be in the same block as the other one.
14.
14? Okay. So I won't say that they're intimidated, but they are definitely kind of like taken aback and like not sure how to react to that immediately. So everyone else is just kind of uncomfortably making themselves like comfortable at the table, but like at this corner, you just have like this standoff between the three of them. Like she's just got her arms crossed, staring up at them, like squinting her eyes, and they're both just like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
I think Noelle would probably give up her seat and just kind of meander around the area, like just stay nearby, but sort of hover around the table, so she can hear in on conversations.
Okay, that's fair. I do think as you stand up, one of the men in this group will probably be like, "Oh, ma'am, I couldn't possibly take your seat from you."
Oh, no, not a problem. I was almost done anyway.
Well, there's a knee waiting for you if you need one.
Ew.
I feel like since Burberry never actually sat down, he kind of just steps out of the way, and once everybody's comfortable, immediately starts cajoling them about Herfast, the god of cogs.
Okay.
I'm getting the sense there's going to be a lot of proselytizing from Burberry.
Oh,
Give me a persuasion check, we'll say.
Oh no. Oh, baby, it is so bad. You said persuasion?
Yeah.
Can I do performance instead? It would be equally funny.
What are you performing exactly? Like, what's the performance aspect of this?
I mean, don't you think that clerics are basically performing every time they do a sermon?
I could see an argument made there.
I suppose if
Okay.
it's not like a discussion, then it could kind of be a performance.
If you
Yeah,
just,
well,
if you
as
just
I
wanna
said,
launch
it'd be equally
into-
funny either way. It's a +0 for both of them.
That's fine. If you just want to like launch into this like prepared sermon you have you heard the good word of Cog God? Yeah, go for it. Fuck it.
Whopping 3.
Excellent. So you're just like, have you heard the good word of Cog God? And they're just like, no, and immediately just turn away from you.
He keeps talking.
Willem is still focused on you, Barnaby. He hasn't quite taken his seat yet. He's just kind of like walking with you as you are like preparing plates and bowls and everything for everybody. It's like, you had a good month, Barnaby. Think they're looking all right around here. Seem to be doing well.
Well, I like to think so.
Good, good. These guests of yours, they just come by for the night? They've been here long.
These ones just came by earlier before you came.
Oh, fancy that. They smelled you cooking too, huh?
Oh, you know how this little shack all started.
That I do. You've put together quite a place here, Barnaby. As always, I am impressed. Damn fine cook. Well, I won't take up too much of your time. You know why we're here. We've got work to do, as always. So, hopefully, we've got enough here to work with for the month, and we won't be needing to make a trip back anytime soon. You good for it this month, boy?
I think I am.
Well, how about you and I take care of this business now, and then we can enjoy our meal in peace without the drudgery hanging over us.
He just kind of nods. I like the sound of your thinking.
You should ask him if that's before or after their tap. Sorry.
So, what are you gonna give this guy this month, Barnaby?
Probably. Let's see. Probably a barrel of his fermented fish.
Okay.
Along with a knuckle sandwich.
Let's see. Barrel fermented fish. Let's see what else. What else has he got?
What else does he have besides fermented fish?
I mean, you've got your salvage from the ocean.
Yeah.
You've got whatever coin you've got in your pocket, your equipment, you know. Not a ton. You live a pretty frugal existence here in your shack, but yeah. You just want to are you just going to give him the one barrel?
I think I can give him the other one.
Okay. So
Two barrels.
2 barrels of pickled fish. Pickled
Can
food.
So while Barnaby is like walking over, I assume he has to go get the barrels.
Yeah, they kind of head back up the stairs towards the shack where Barnaby starts pulling some barrels aside.
Oh, they're both going to do this?
They both walk up there. Yeah,
Okay, well,
Barnaby's
never mind.
doing.
I was gonna ask Willem a question, but if he's gone, it's not worth it.
Oh, you wanted to ask Willem a question?
Yeah, but I was gonna wait. I was gonna ask him while Barnaby was doing this, but
Okay. Yeah. No, Willem's just kind of overseeing it.
okay, never mind.
So you pull these barrels apart, and Willem kind of looks him over, says, "Is all you got for the month, friend? It's a little light." Kind of taps the barrel, makes like a boom sound.
I'm afraid to say the fish haven't been biting like they used to.
That's too bad, Barnaby. Shoot.
Surely our pastime, we could look over this little lacking.
Give me a persuasion check.
That ain't gonna do. That's an 8, 7 plus 1.
Oof. That's rough.
Mm-hmm.
Willem just kind of clicks his tongue, just, Barnaby, come now. We've been doing business like this for nearly a year. You know how this works. Kind of looks around. Think your friends might be able to help you out?
Can we hear
Just
this?
met him. I couldn't ask him that.
Do we hear this conversation?
Maybe you should. Give me a perception check.
I'd also like to try a perception check.
Okay, that's fine.
I won't. I'm busy.
13. Okay, John, go ahead.
16.
16. Okay. So, Aloran, you're probably a little preoccupied by your standoff with these two guys next to you. But, John, you've just kind of been tracking this movement and watching them and pretty honed in. And I think you do probably pick up on it. It's distant, but you do hear him.
I think John would stand up at this point
Okay.
and walk over to Barnaby and the grime person.
Okay. when you stand up and leave the table, 3 of the seated men see this, and they will also stand up and follow you at probably like a 10-foot distance.
It's going to turn to him and give kind of a low growl.
Give me an intimidation check.
It's intimidation, I think. Proficiency in intimidation.
Natural what?
Proficiency in intimidation.
What?
So that's okay. So I have a +4 intimidation.
That's so choppy. I haven't heard anything.
Oh, I was just mumbling to myself about my own stats.
Okay. Okay.
So that would be a 22.
Ooh. So you are a big guy, and when you growl like that, it's got like a deep resonance to it. This is like a wild ant, like a bear growling almost. Like all of you kind of hear this like just bassy rumble coming out of this man. And the 3 dudes following you genuinely seem taken aback by that. Like they kind of freeze for a moment and just like wide-eyed are like staring at you as you keep walking before one of them just kind of boss, hey. He whistles. I can't whistle. So.
Probably best not to into the mic anyway.
Yeah, that's fine. There it is. And Willem's attention immediately snaps down to the beach and sees you approaching. Like, how can we do for you, son?
Seems to be some.
Just a little trouble with business this month. Nothing for you to worry about, unless Barnaby, you think he might be able to help you. As I said.
And help would Barnaby need.
What was that? That was muffled.
I couldn't ask you that.
So, and what kind of help would Barnaby need?
Well, he's a little short this month, you see. And he pats the barrels. Unfortunately,
Collecting.
my boss ain't gonna be too pleased seeing me coming back short. There's a process to these things, you see.
You know, I was just wondering, you've been in this location for a while now, haven't you?
Was that to Barnaby or to Willem?
Oh.
To who?
Willem.
Willem? Oh my god, I got so quiet. Willem responds, well, we've been correspondence now for almost a year. Ain't that right, Barnaby?
Yeah, that's about right.
We go way back.
You wouldn't have happened to run into somebody named Folk Claybrook recently, have you?
Folk Claybrook.
That while giving him a deep stare.
Can't say the name rings a bell. I take it you looking for this fellow.
Oh, he's an acquaintance. I'm just trying to see if I can scare him.
Well, good luck to you. Although, to be honest with you, I can't imagine where he'd be hiding. Ain't much on this road. Aside from Barnaby here. Couple
Occasional
up.
bandit group.
Pardon?
I said, and the occasional bandit group.
He kind of raises his eyebrows a little bit and gives you this wide smile. Careful about what you were insinuating, son.
Insinuating.
Mighty insulting.
I've never had you collect tax anywhere around here. The Barnaby.
Well, for your
Seem odd, Barnaby.
What's that?
But you know, you're the only one that I've ever known him to collect taxes from.
I figured everyone has to pay taxes. Even Mater and my pa, God rest his soul, had to pay taxes.
Oh, there are taxes for living in the cities, definitely. But I've been over quite a bit of this area. You're the only one I've ever known to pay taxes to this person.
Well, to cut this off before we get too carried away, for your information, thank you. I work for the Lord up in the mountains, up yonder. He points out into the dark, but towards the mountain range. He owns much of the lands in the central Fanwood where you are currently standing. There's a few villages out there in the woods that fall under his demesne, as does Barnaby, who has settled not too terribly far from the mouth of his river. He kind of points out in the dark towards that river, Barnaby, where you usually do all your fishing. It is only fitting that we collect the requisite tax from the residents of our lands.
Maybe any of these people in these towns have seen my friend.
That last bit came out real fuzzy. What was
Yeah,
it?
if you're gonna be John, you gotta project.
I literally have the mic like right by me.
I know it's got to be out because I can't hear when it gets low and.
Sorry, I'm trying to just talk normal.
I know.
I wonder if any of the people in these villages have seen the friend I've been looking for.
Couldn't hurt to ask. Suppose you could head out into the woods. A few trails you can follow. One not far from here, and he actually points out past the shack towards the tree line across the road, and he says it's a trail we follow actually. Kind of veers a little bit to the north, meets up with the river, but there's a few forks off the way that'll take you down to the settlements if you are so inclined. Surprised you don't know about them, considering you say you know this area so well, friend.
Dangerous in the forest. People tend to stay out.
Ah, well, now you know. So
I'll have to expand my looking range.
best of luck to you.
Sorry, can I interject a question here?
Yes, sir.
I think I would probably be fairly knowledgeable about like the tax collection process in the Midlands. Does this differ?
Give me a history check, sure.
Because I believe he did announce that he was here to collect taxes at some point.
Yeah.
Job.
Natural 20.
Your subsection A.
Natural 20.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So tax collection is it varies from city to city. You do know that there is typically either a sheriff or a reeve or some official that is appointed to actually go out and collect them. In some places, you also know that some places set up like an office where people can come and drop it off. It varies from place to place.
Is there usually like documentation shown by the tax collector to kind of verify the process?
In most Midland cities, yes. I will say the other thing that probably strikes you about this as off is the fact that most tax collectors usually don't collect taxes every month. It's usually like either like seasonal at the most frequent, or like once or twice a year is the norm. Monthly is very frequent.
Okay. I I think at this point, just seeing that there's a lot of tension and like seeing John like growl at those cards, I'll start making my way over to this conversation as well.
Okay.
Can I ask a weird question?
Yeah. What is it?
Is our churches exempt from this?
Exempt from tax collection?
Didn't think you'd have to figure that one out first session.
It's just like a relevant question.
Questions you didn't expect on the first session. Are churches tax exempt?
Yeah. Let me think.
Okay.
I think that that is largely dependent on where the church is. I think the conclave definitely pushes to get tax exempt status, from what you remember. And they're usually able to get it. They're able to make a case for themselves. So it frequently they end up being tax exempt. It's not universally the case, but for the most part, yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out if Burp here.
If he knows about this kind of thing.
Yeah, because like
He's probably had very limited experience with tax collection, given his history that you told me.
yeah.
So,
Okay.
So Noelle stands up to approach this group.
Technically, I was already standing, but sure.
Well, Noelle peels off to approach the group.
Mm-hmm.
How's it? All right. Seeing you kind of moving to approach, you see a couple more guards from the table catch sight of that, stand up, and kind of move to follow you as well. Probably kind of standing about 2 feet back, or not 10 feet back.
Okay, I got no problem with that.
All right.
Fresh.
Yeah. So you approach this group, this.
Also not as intimidating, John.
Pardon?
Well,
Monsieur Willem, you said?
Willem Grimes, at your service. And you are? Actually reaches out for a hand.
He reaches out for my hand?
Yeah.
Sure, I'll offer it to him.
Okay. He takes your hand and does like a low bow, kind of sweeping the hat off his head and kisses the top of your hand. Dry and cracked lips, like not a pleasant sensation. But he very quickly like releases it and puts the hat back on his head with this.
Sir, I couldn't help but overhear a little bit. You said this is a tax situation, and it seems to be a little more tense than normal ones I've seen. What is the problem exactly?
We're proceeding perfectly fine before this very large and intimidating gentleman decided to involve himself.
Well, I think I speak for all of us when I say that none of us want anything troublesome to happen here. I'm just curious. What jurisdiction are you collecting taxes under?
As I said, my lord lives in the mountains up yonder. He presides over the fair wood and the foothills at the base right there.
And I presume you have the documentation to prove this?
He gives you this wide, toothy, like smile as he sighs, just kind of cocks his head and kind of rolls his eyes a little bit as he reaches into his coat and he pulls out this little, not little, it's like coaster sized, like beaten metal badge, and just kind of tosses it to you.
I'll look it over.
It's this very hastily like etched, like hammer pounded, real like crude, not very well made. There's like a star, and across the star it says sheriff in real rough carved letters. Like, it's not real fancy at all. Like, this is not a
Given my history, do I determine this is probably either like not legitimate or just at least shady in general?
It comes off a little shady. Yeah,
Okay.
that's
I will do my best not to, poker face, and I'll just hand it back to him, and I'll say,
Well, if there's an issue, I mean, what is the problem right now?
well, the trouble is that Mr. Barnaby is a touch short this month. We're more than happy to accept his fermented fish, given as that is what he has to offer, but my concern is that the barrels are a touch light, and I would hate to have to make a return trip in the next few weeks to collect the remainder. As I said, I'm not looking for trouble. Neither are my boys, but we are playing it safe. I'm sure you can respect that. A man in my position is not exactly welcome
Of course.
in
No,
occasion.
I understand completely, and I'm sure. I mean, we live in a civilized society. So, where could Barnaby file for an extension?
Well, as I said, I could leave. I'd have to come back. And I don't relish the orders I'd be coming back under. I think, for all our sakes, that if we can resolve this now, all the better. Fair to say. He looks back to you, Barnaby.
Suppose I wouldn't want to have you go through 2 trips.
Well, it would be mighty troublesome, and I would do it for you, my friend, but as I say, you know, my boss is not the most forgiving sort.
while he's looking at Barnaby, can I cast Charm Person?
Ooh.
Ooh. Okay. What components does that have?
Let me double check real quick. Charm Person is, I think it's just verbal and somatic.
Okay.
But you did say he turned to look at Barnaby.
He did, but there's also the 2 men standing behind you and the 3 standing behind John.
I thought the 3 behind me stayed a little bit farther back.
They kept their distance, but they're still present and watching this interaction. And as I said, there are the 2 that just walked up behind you, Alora, or Noel. Damn. Yeah.
That's true. I feel like if I keep my hands close at the front, perhaps.
Go ahead and try a stealth check then.
Sleight of hand or stealth?
So actually, yeah, sleight of hand makes sense.
Okay. 15.
15. Okay. These guys don't have great passive perception, so that does not meet their notice. As far as you can tell, they don't react. However, Willem now has to make a wisdom save.
Yep.
Okay. What is the number to beat?
Spell save DC of 15.
15? Oh, you got a 14.
Oh, shit.
Wow. Okay. This is interesting. So you cast Charm Person on Willem as he turns to look at Barnaby. And he looks back at you and he gives you a smile.
I'll just smile back.
Well, it seems that we are kind of at an impasse, wouldn't you say? I mean, clearly Barnaby does not quite have what he needs, and while I know it may cause you a little extra trouble, maybe it would be worth just coming back in a few weeks. I'm sure he could have things ready by then.
Fishing has been picking up recently, just haven't had quite enough.
Well, there you go.
So he regards you as a friendly acquaintance.
Basically, I think it's kind of like just like, yeah, this person's on the up and up. Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah, okay. I'm just making sure there's not any like extra effects. So I'll say go ahead and make a persuasion check with advantage because you have him charmed now.
19 total.
Oof. Okay. Yeah, with a 19, I think Willem just kind of you know, Missy, you make a good point. I am sorry to be a stick in the mud about all this. I do apologize.
No, it is. I mean, I know you came all the way down here and you brought all your men, but you know, I mean, sometimes things just work out this way, and it's clear that Barnaby does not have any ill intentions, and you know, I mean, I am very new to all this, but everything seems fine here, so why not just come back and you can get this sorted out later.
I think that may be just what we do. I can put in a good word for you with my boss, Barnaby, don't worry. He's not the most forgiving type, but I'm sure I can get through to him.
Plus, I mean, we wouldn't want
appreciate it.
any trouble to come to, you know, the best gumbo on the Emerald Coast, right?
This is true. This man does make a mighty fine pot of gumbo.
I'll just kind of like put a hand on Barnaby's shoulder in a friendly manner, like yeah,
Aw,
we're cool. I
shucks.
know this guy.
Barnaby definitely blushes when his cooking gets complimented.
All right. Well, I do think that kind of around you, like the men watching this interaction do seem a little confused, kind of like, oh, that's unusual. But Willem very quickly just kind of waves to them and points at the barrels, and just says, "Just load these up. In the meantime, I think we can return to our lovely dinner and then be on our way. You folks have been most hospitable, and I appreciate that we were able to come to an understanding on this."
Hey, Pete.
Hmm?
How long does Charm Person last?
1 hour. We got 1 hour to get him out of here. I think as this group disperses, I will whisper in Barnaby's ear. I'll just say,
He's not going to be friendly for long. We have 1 hour.
And Barnaby just kind of like shakes his head, like, all right. Don't know how I'm going to catch that many fish.
No, just get him out of here before then.
All right. Well, hey, can I offer you some gumbo to go? Maybe in a bowl or something like that. Eat while.
Well, I won't say no to a second serving. Hey, hurry up with them barrels. And you see that some of the guards who had been watching this interaction had kind of peeled off and picked up the barrels and are now like making their way around the building towards this wagon that is parked out front. There's a couple more guards standing by the wagon with these horses that have been trussed up to it, and they are at the sound of Willem barking at them. They very quickly, double their pace and are like frantically trying to get these things loaded into the back.
I will. Sorry. I'll just, while we're walking back, once I've told Barnaby that, I'll also walk over to John, who seems like the muscle in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just tell him as well, similarly, like,
I diffused that situation, but we only have an hour before the magic I used wears off. He's not going to be nice after that. If you can find a way to get him out of here.
Now, the thing is, I need to follow him.
Well, this became a lot more awkward.
So I need him to leave as well. That way I can follow him back to his base because I'm pretty sure he's the one I'm after.
Alright, well, I guess we just need to get him out of here then.
Talking, Willem has made his way back to the table and taken a seat with the rest of his men, and is just patiently waiting for Barnaby. As I assume he's tending to the gumbo now. He's getting servings ready.
Getting some the good bowls already.
All right. So passing those out. Everyone's sitting down to eat. Eventually, the guards who had gone off with the barrels return back around the side of the shack and come down to the beach and return to their seats. And gumbo is dispensed. And the tax group seems to be fairly relaxed at this point. As much of a stink as maybe they made initially, now that the business is concluded and nothing's popped off, they seem pretty chill. A little rowdy and kind of rough around the edges, but now, like, barely a second thought to the rest of you. They seem to be perfectly content to continue kind of talking amongst themselves, joking and laughing, except for Willem, who is now actually pretty interested in you, Noel. As you guys kind of come back towards the table, he kind of comments as he steps up next to you. He's like, forgive me for saying, ma'am, but you give me the strangest sensation, like an old friend. And I must confess to a bit of rudeness on my part. I never did ask for your name.
My name is Noel.
Noel.
It's funny. I've heard that many times. I think it might be the changeling in me. People just kind of regard me as familiar.
And I'll just sort of shapeshift my features into more like human features.
Now that is a fine trick, ma'am. Goodness, look at you.
Yes, it is. It's fun at parties.
I'll shift back.
I can imagine. I know a few tricks myself.
Oh, I'm
Not quite as fun at parties, but they do help with the work.
Any you'd care to share?
Well, I'd hate to show off, but since you're asking.
Oh God, this guy makes me look.
Wait, didn't Plant flirt with Pete our first campaign last go round? Our first session last campaign.
You charmed me, motherfucker.
Look, this is gonna happen a lot. I promise you, Noel's not actually flirting with this dude. He's gross and terrible. I am just trying to keep him off of Barnaby's back for the moment.
She's Bugs Bunny.
While someone figures out a way to get him the fuck out of here.
She's Bugs Bunny and him, distracting.
All right. He will kind of scratch his chin thinking and be like, all right. This one's one of my favorites. And he kind of turns out over the ocean and kind of sets his hands on his thighs, kind of spreads his legs, kind of gets in kind of a low, like, ready position. And then very quickly whips his hands up, fingers extended, and just and you see two bolts of this crackling energy shoot out across the ocean before kind of in the distance. And he kind of looks back to you with this very, like, proud expression on his face and just says, I call that one Eldritch Blast.
Maybe you should stick around and help Barnaby with his fishing sometime. Seems like it'd be good for that.
Maybe in my retirement I might take it up. Trouble is, my work keeps me very busy.
I'm sure. I mean, you're probably traveling all around. How many different places do you have to stop when you're doing your work?
Oh, well, it's probably 8 or 9, give or take. Folk are settled in a few places around these woods,
Oh, I'm sorry, and what did you say the name of your lord was?
My lord. Mercy me, I did forget. My lord's name is Vanis Theron.
Gonna need a spelling on that one.
So V-A-N-S, or V-A-N-I-S, excuse me.
Okay.
E-H-E-R-A-N.
Theran.
Yep.
Is this a name I've heard before?
You mean? Okay.
History, I think
The name John would have heard before.
Is John standing in on this conversation?
I kind of assumed I'd pulled him away to, like, keep him distracted while people figure out what the fuck to do.
Okay. Yeah, I figured that was the intent.
History is +0, but that's a 12.
12. You've never heard that name before.
Okay.
I can't say familiar, but well, they sound very.
Well, he's not exactly a well-regarded fellow. Well-known, I should say, widely regarded. But he's an up-and-comer. I think he's got what it takes to really make a name for himself. Just needs some time.
I mean, I
so.
admit I am not from this area. You can probably tell.
And I just kind of gesture to my mouth.
That is a lovely accent you have, man, but certainly ain't from around here.
Not exactly.
Meanwhile, my teammates find a way to get this guy away from us.
John's gonna.
I've been putting on gumbo.
John's
Can
gonna-
I like just interject whenever? Because I've been wanting to roll a perception check to see if your character is uncomfortable.
That would probably be more
You guys
insight,
just
but
kept going, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know.
yeah, no, sorry. It's about you got to like find little gaps where you can kind of
Interject, yeah. But yeah, if you want to make an insight check, roll insight.
Yeah, can I?
While
roll
you're doing that,
insight?
I gotta pee real quick.
yeah, I do too, honestly.
Okay, if we want to take a break after this then, so a Lauren insight check. What was that?
Dad.
Oh no. Okay, what was it?
Oh my god, it's gonna be like
6. Okay, I'll be real with you. I think you could probably put it together even with a 6. Like, Noelle is not into this guy, but he doesn't seem to be picking it up. Like,
I think
for
it's-
whatever reason, it's like he's been enchanted or something.
I think it's probably clear that like if this guy was of sound mind, he probably would have gotten the hint a while ago, but we just keep talking.
It's like he's a guy and doesn't understand hidden signals from girls.
I guess I'll go over there and go and try to save Noelle.
Okay. So I've heard bathroom breaks. So
Yes, please.
let's take a 10-minute break.
Sure.
That will be fine.
10-minute break, and then we'll be back. If y'all want to discuss plans during this time, by all means. But
I'm
we
gonna
will
pee first.
10:28ish.
All right.
There we go. We're good.
Bam, bam, bam.
Stream mode
All right.
active.
So, we left off. Noel has cast Charm Person on Willem to defuse the situation, which it has. He is willing to leave without anything more. However, he and his men are still staying for dinner, and y'all want him to fuck off. Like, so what are y'all gonna do?
Give him a bowl of gumbo.
Okay.
It sounds
he's
like
got his gun.
Lauren had a thing she wanted to interject at some point.
All right. So yeah, Lauren, you did roll insight and saw that Noelle is very visibly uncomfortable with this man who is kind of fawning over her right now.
So I'm gonna strut up very confidently,
Okay.
and I'm gonna put my arm around her waist and be like, "Babe, is he bothering you?"
I will be a little bit surprised by this at first, and then kind of get it immediately. I'll look down at my apparent girlfriend. I'll just say,
Oh no, we were mainly just friendly conversation. It's fine, but are you done eating?
I am, and I would like to talk to you a little bit alone under the moonlight.
Oh.
I'll give Willem a look, just like, oh damn.
Yeah, Willem, after that first thing, immediately takes his hat off and is like, "I am so sorry."
Oh, it is absolutely no problem. But you know.
What? Man, I do not mean to encroach, Miss. And he kind of looks at you, Aloran, because he doesn't have your name either.
It is okay.
Of course. Well, I can see that you are needed elsewhere, Noel. So for now, I will bid you adieu.
Yes. Well, enjoy your food and have a pleasant night.
And you too as well. He's just gonna kind of awkwardly turn away. You see him kind of like glance over his shoulder at you a couple more times, Noel. He's got this kind of wry smile on his face, you can see. But he just kind of leaves it at that and heads back to the table.
I'll put a hand on Lauren's shoulder, and just as we're walking away, I'll just be like, oh, thank you.
You're welcome. He's quite nasty.
Yeah, you could say that.
Nailed it.
All right, one problem solved.
All right. So as you guys kind of walk away from the group, I guess, just to kind of maintain the ruse, you'll probably notice that Willem is kind of looking over at you, Noel, periodically. Like, he's still watching you. He still seems to be pretty enamored. But he's left you be, and he's now sort of sitting and absentmindedly sort of talking with his men as well, and enjoying the gumbo.
Okay.
So, what are you guys gonna do now? The tax folk are chowing down.
I imagine that me and Alora will probably just be like out of sight, like over a hill or something for like a few minutes, just to like keep up the ruse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
So we'll be out of this for a moment at least.
Head down the beach and kind of head back up the bluff onto the grass.
Yeah.
Like John would go over and talk to Barnaby.
Okay.
So, Barnaby,
Yes.
we need to figure something to get these people out of here. Anything come to mind?
Figure once they get a full meal, they won't have much reason to stay. Why? What you thinking?
Just, I seem to remember a little while ago some kind of smell coming from this that nearly killed me. Yeah, you remember what that was? A couple months
Oh
back.
yeah, that was the guts barrel. Use it for bait.
What's that
See,
now?
the fish eat the fish, and since you are what you eat, the fish tastes more like fish.
Yeah. Where's the guts barrel now?
Over beyond the shack. Just a little bit. Just enough so I could sleep without smelling it.
I'd notice if I moved it a little closer and opened it.
Wow, what are you? Oh, I think I see what you're doing. Yeah, probably would be a good idea to air it out. That way we can get some more traps primed. So why don't you go on and do that? Let's go get some more traps set up. We've got a bunch of fishing to do, so that way we can get another one of them barrels loaded up for you. He just kind of talks louder as he says that.
I'm gonna do that.
So I assume you're doing that for Willem to hear you?
Yeah.
And Willem will say, "You take care of whatever you need to take care of, Barnaby. You're home. We are but gracious guests. The gumbo is fantastic, by the way.
Always good to hear.
Thank you
I
again.
do my best.
That you do." So you guys step away from the table and back up the bluff to wherever you have the guts barrel stashed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what is the plan with this barrel?
Say we bring this to the blind side of the house where they're not able to see it very well,
Okay.
and then open it up. Make as if we're loading
Yeah,
traps.
we're trying to flush him out, I think, with a terrible smell.
Okay. So there's a larger party down there on the beach with the table and the gumbo, right? And there is also the 2 guards that have been staying by the wagon that is parked out by the road in front of the shack. It's probably like 30, 40, maybe 50 feet from the front door. Those guys are just kind of standing there keeping watch, essentially, over the goods in the wagon. Do you care if they see you at all, or is this just kind of like out in the open, nothing to hide here, nothing to see, kind of an operation?
It's nothing to hide. We're just loading traps.
Yep.
Okay. So y'all just head out over there and start moving this barrel over to the corner of the shack where you've got your traps kind of all thrown down. And I'll say that these guys probably like clock you and like see what you're doing. But they don't move. They don't react to it really. There's kind of just are tracking you as you move kind of across their field of vision. So you set up, you get your barrel in place, pop the top. The stench is horrid standing over it like this. John, you don't get a lot of experience with this thing. Could I get a Constitution saving throw from you?
Some ominous fish music.
Constitution saving
Snake
throw.
stuff.
That'd be a 25.
25? Okay. It burns, but you've got a job to do, and you're just like, don't care. And just fucking suck it up. And y'all pop the top. Are you doing anything else with it other than opening it?
Some of them set the traps.
Okay, so getting some traps prepared for the morning. Okay. And just stay up there working on it until the smell spreads.
So we're pretty, we're not super far away from them, right? Like, we should be.
It's maybe as far to the table, maybe not as far as the wagon is from the house, so probably like 40, 30 feet-ish. It's not too far away. So you guys are up there baiting traps, letting that stanky fucking fish gut barrel air out, and the smell does spread. Burberry, I assume you're still there at the table. Like you can smell it through the mask.
I was just about to eat too.
Pungent. it's like it's faint at first, but like you get like a full face of it, like this slight breeze carries it up against you, and it's just like, oh, that's bad.
Can I try and like
I'm surprised it's coming through the mask. Impressive.
It's stanky.
Powerful stank.
I must admit, it does sound like it would be fascinating to find out what that origin is. I've never eaten anything like it.
It's bad.
I know.
The taxmen around you too are, before long, all of them are kind of like, ugh, and they're like smelling the gumbo. Like, is this rancid? Like looking around, like, fucking stinks. A couple of them stand up and kind of start walking around, like trying to find it. And like you hear the guys just like, somebody fucking find that shit. What is it? And eventually they make their way up to where you guys are working, and they're like, oh God, what is that smell? Like holding their noses.
Barnaby just holds up a trap. Bait.
Shut that shit. We're trying to eat.
Oh, well, sorry. I gotta get baiting so that way I can get more fish for the fermented fish for your next visit.
Do it after we leave. God damn, man.
Set the traps out late at night, otherwise it won't be full by morning.
One of them is going to walk over towards the barrel and look around for the lid, grab it, and just slam it down on top, and start walking back down towards the beach, looking at you guys like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Barnaby just holds up both his hands like, all right.
Just gonna pop the lid right there.
I'm gonna need at least an extra day then for that. I can't tie up my bait.
He's just like, he just waves his hand in frustration and keeps walking.
I just pop the lid back off.
No. Don't mess him up. Don't want to scare him away. Yeah. He says under his breath.
Still stinks. Like they're all down there just fucking like, oh God, you know.
I was gonna kind of whisper under his breath. He's like, "Hey, do you think what happened if I spilled this on them?"
I think if you did that, I don't think we'd have any more opportunities for words to explain anything, you know? Know what I'm saying?
Mentally.
I don't know if we're quite there yet.
Let's back up.
What was that?
We'll keep that as a backup then.
I think that's a good idea. As he winks at you.
Okay. So, the smell of stinky, rotten fish guts is kind of hanging in the air right now. It's slow to dispel. But the barrel has been closed. What are you guys going to do now?
I think, at the very least, Noelle is probably just mentally tracking Charm Person, like, just trying to feel for if it ever starts weakening so that she can potentially re-up it if she has to.
Okay. I'd say it's probably been about half an hour at this point.
Okay. So we still got a little bit of time.
Yeah. They look like they're... Like, most of them have finished their first bowl. A lot of them have gone back for seconds. But they're kind of like avoiding the vicinity around the shack now because it smells to high heaven. They've kind of congregated around the fire now, where the smell's not as bad. It's like smoky instead of fishy.
Mm-hmm.
So the dinner party has kind of migrated across the beach a little bit, but they're still here. They're still chowing down. Anyone?
Burberry's gonna head towards Noelle and Alarin and say,
I think as you leave Burberry, Will call out to you. He's like, I'd be careful. They asked for some private time, if you catch my drift.
I'm well aware, good sir.
Just mind your gaze.
Meanwhile, me and Lauren are just playing Connect 4.
Yeah, I feel like Burberry just walks and say,
Noelle, I'm so proud of you. Finding a girlfriend out here must be rather difficult.
What are you guys doing when Burberry walks
Actually, I do have a deck of cards.
We're playing cards.
Yeah.
"Oh, please tell me you're playing Go Fish, please."
Oh, yes.
Okay, with some card games.
I apologize if I'm interrupting private time.
And you can hear the laughter in his voice.
Do you want to be dealt in?
We're playing Go Fish.
Sure, king me.
Oh boy, we're going to teach you. Okay, so. Do you smell something?
It does smell kind of fishy now that you
Can
think.
I say it smells like William? I
Um,
don't know, it reminds me of William.
I believe that our hosts have opened up a trap barrel of some kind.
So how do we make them leave?
I think that might have been the plan, though it does not seem to be working.
I can just tell one of them to leave, but unfortunately, it only works on one of them, and I don't know if he'd take the others with him.
Burberry, how have they been responding to your, suggestions?
Suggestion? Oh, they are completely not listening. It's rather rude.
Right. What if dinner came to a close and, the sermon was to start?
Another? Oh, perhaps they would like to hear of Mitsvana. That's always a good one.
Yes, I'm sure they'd love to.
Burberry, at the mention of that name, you do feel this kind of very faint, warm feeling in your chest.
I'm going to try to. Let's see. So Barnaby. I guess I don't technically know this, but Barnaby is in front of the house, but by the shrimp or by the trap pile of guts.
Yes.
And John are kind of at the side of the house with the trap pile and the bear.
From my current position, is there any way I could stealth over there?
You could try. The only people who would really have advantage on you if you stayed low would be the two guards on the road. Everyone else is on the beach, which is like 5 or 6 feet below the bluff where the shack is. So staying low, they wouldn't even be able to see you. There's just no angle for it. So the only ones who are really at risk of seeing you are the guards on the road. So you could try.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna try for that. I'm gonna tell Burberry before I go, just like,
Start thinking about a sermon.
Yes.
Something particularly boring.
Oh, boring. Oh, well, I mean, there's so many fascinating ones. Boring will be rather difficult.
Like, so he starts mumbling
as I'm walking off.
Okay. So give me a stealth check now.
Yes.
Okay. Not amazing. 13.
13. So they are kind of standing in the dark with torches, but you're at a distance in the dark. Okay. All right. So you kind of make your way across the kind of grassy knoll here, just low crawling through tall grass, and the shadow of these palm trees. Keeping an eye on those guards.
My dress keeps getting snagged on sticks.
Yeah. They don't seem to notice you. they're still just kind of like watching the shack and kind of like looking around aimlessly.
My goal here is to get to Barnaby in a way where Willem wouldn't see me.
I think as long as you stay far enough away from the edge of the bluff, Willem would not have line of sight at all.
Okay.
Aloran, did you want to follow Noel?
Yes.
Okay.
To keep the Lisa.
Okay, go ahead and give me a stealth check from you then, please. You look like you wanted to say something. So. Bust up them dice. 14. Okay. That will also beat their very shitty perception check. So they had disadvantage. It's dark, so these are just basic humans. So yeah, Aloran, you follow Noel, no issues, and the four of you are now kind of standing near this stanky barrel. Okay. Not standing, crouching, I guess.
Yeah, I'll cover my nose.
Yeah.
So I guess at some point, Barnaby, you just hear. I guess you probably don't really hear us, but at some point you feel a tap on your shoulder.
Yeah, Barnaby doesn't notice shit because his passive is terrible.
Right next to the barrel?
They were standing next to the barrel baiting traps.
Can I try to scare them?
You want to scare Barnaby or John?
Let's go with Barnaby. I have an ulterior.
Okay.
Well, maybe he'll jump and knock over the barrel and steal him on accident. And then there's no cleaning up that mess.
Okay. I mean, Barnaby's passive is very low, so sneaking up on her is not hard. What do you want to do exactly?
As well. Barnaby, what are you afraid of? Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll get like a piece of grass, like tickle his ear with it.
So, Noelle, you come up to them, and then right behind you is Lauren, and she's got a little thing of grass in her hand, and she just reaches out and just like jabs the inside of Barnaby's ear with it. So
Barnaby just slaps at his ear.
Okay, so Barnaby slaps his ear.
Damn it.
Damn flies.
Barnaby, John? Is John here?
Yeah, sorry. John probably would have noticed. Actually, John would have noticed you both come up. Actually, he's got good passive.
Oh, okay.
And he's got dark vision, which helps.
Yeah.
So, yeah, John's there. He notices you guys.
All right, I'll just say
the smell doesn't seem to be clearing them out, but we came up with a backup plan. I think Burberry is going to start a sermon, so Barnaby, maybe it's time for the meal to end and the sermon to begin officially, right? Maybe worth an announcement?
Oh, suppose we can do that. All right. He just kind of cracks his knuckles and walks down towards the table.
All right. So no subterfuge, just openly walking down to the group.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them, like I said, have congregated towards the fire, away from the table where the stink is kind of accumulated.
Mm-hmm.
But you approach the group, and Willem sees you coming back. He's like, "Oh, Barnaby, finish with your traps."
At least for the time being, but seeing as it looks like most of everybody's gotten their fill,
As half of them are reaching in for a third helping.
If you'd like that to go, be my guest. But would you care to join us for a sermon?
And they all kind of freeze in place and look at you. And Willem is just like, "A sermon?
Oh, not for me, of course.
Never took you for a religious man, Barnaby."
Not too much myself, but I have found an occasional sermon is good for the soul, if you know what I mean.
Kind of squints at you. Go ahead and give me a deception check.
17. 17 plus 1.
Damn. Okay.
I'll also, I think while he's talking to him, I'll be like going to get Burberry from across the hill or whatever.
Okay.
Burberry
Um,
is prepped.
Trapped.
Prep.
Oh,
Prepped.
prepped.
Prepped for the sermon.
All right. I did not stat Willem with good insight, so he does not see through that one at all. He's just like, learn new things about you every day.
You should
And
come visit more often. We only see you about once a month.
that's true. Maybe I should. Sermon then. Kind of looks back at the boys. Like, well, how do we feel about a sermon, boys? Well, none of them have an answer. They're just kind of like dumbfounded, like looking at each other and looking at you, Barnaby. There's no answer. Kind of looks back to you. Like, well, maybe get this started. We'll see if it grows on them.
It will not.
See, every now and then we do get some religious type to wander on down, and it's always nice to have a little sermon.
The floor is yours. He just kind of gestures around at the beach.
All right. Well, don't mind if I have a seat.
All right, so you sit
Feel
down.
free to join.
At this point, we're probably coming back around the hill with Burberry.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So
Noel, Burberry, John and what are John and Lauren doing? Anything? Or you want to stick with the group?
I kind of assumed that Lauren was sticking with me just to keep up the illusion of.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm just basically following Noel. Like,
Okay, that's fair. And John, where's John at this point? Johnny boy.
John, you done be muted right now.
I was thinking at the same time, I was like, I guess John will move over to like, not the table, but like the side of the, like, leaning up against the shack, like closest to where the table is, I guess.
Okay, so you're just kind of like looking down at the beach from the shack.
Yeah.
All right. So, as this ensemble kind of comes together, John looking on, Burberry, you are kind of being pushed front and center here. So what do you do?
Burberry will give like a really awkward like bow. Like it's almost like he gets thrown off balance when he bows. And stand up and he opens his very tabbed book to a completely random page. And goes,
Good evening. I am Burberry. I will be your pastor this evening. Today we will be talking about Siglik, the god of structural integrity and purification.
Give me a
Slow clap.
Are you sure? I wrote a speech.
do a performance check just to start this out.
13.
13.
I feel like lower is better in this situation.
I was about to say, it's not the worst introduction. I mean, a couple of them just seem confused. There's like one guy who's just kind of like, huh.
I will
Like
give you,
something
I will
clicked
give
for
you
him when
my
you heard that.
I will give you my 2 sentences and then I will sum up the rest of it.
All right.
Patron god to architects and engineers, buildings must be solid from the base and made with only the firesome materials. As you can see, Barnaby's lovely shack was clearly not blessed by Siglik. Though
There's
with
a couple
work,
that goes through the group as you say that.
though with work from only the finest of minds, it might be blessed by the Lord God Siglik.
And then basically after that, he goes on about like weight distributions and how it has to be sturdy, and then he moves on to purification, which he starts with an example of turning shit into drinkable water.
Okay. All right. This is a little out there, yeah.
did you just like poop and do it?
Well, no, you see, what you do is you poop in the grass, and then the grass takes the nutrients from your poop, and you natural life cycle. I'm not going through this.
This is what
basically-
Burberry's talking about.
Okay, got
Yeah.
it.
Burberry's not
Basically-
taking a shit.
Okay, I thought you were taking a shit and turning it in the water in front of him. That's why I was like, wait, what
No,
is
no,
that?
no, I'm not.
It's a
sort of
miracle.
Weird shit Jesus. But basically,
Oh, my sticky water.
he's trying to make the food sound less tasty by just describing the least desirable thing to put in your mouth.
Okay, that's fair. I'll say roll a performance check with disadvantage because you made it real uncomfortable to fucking hear while you eat.
Well, wouldn't that be that was the goal, though, right?
I know you want to do badly on this.
Okay, cool.
So you're getting advantage but disadvantage.
Yeah.
9.
9 and what else?
It was a 9 and a 14, so 9.
Okay, 9. All right.
Oh no, wait, no, that was a 6. Wrong one. Sorry. Line on the other side.
Hey, that's a bad roll. Good job. Okay. So Burberry launches into this impassioned sermon about structural stability and water purification. It's very disjointed and unclear exactly like where this is coming from or like why this speech of all things to cap off dinner. It's very off-putting. And Burberry is not doing himself any favors with his like gesticulation or anything. Like he's kind of like almost like a madman, kind of like waving and like thrusting his arms around like a fire and brimstone kind of preacher. Like it's real like impassioned, but it's like nonsense to everyone listening. And the one guy who was like a god of structural integrity, like the more he listens, he's like, this is bull honk. And the rest of them are all kind of on the same page. They are all kind of getting restless and uncomfortable and looking around and looking to Willem. But Willem is just kind of kicked back, like legs crossed, just a faint, serene smile on his face, listening intently. And one of them kind of like leans over to Willem. He's like, boss, do we really have to? He's like, shh. Pay attention. You're being rude. And leans back in his chair. And the guards, like all of his men, are just looking from him to Burberry to him and like murdering amongst themselves, getting more agitated. And after a moment, he kind of looks at them and looks to Burberry, looks back at them, and kind of pulls one of them down, like, what is the problem? And they're like, this is ridiculous. We are not standing here. This and that. And they start bickering right there on the spot. And at that point, Willem stands up and he immediately is just like, shh, holds a finger up to one of the men. And he turns to you, Burberry, and he says, I am most sorry for this. He pulls his hat off. But it would seem that my men have forgotten their manners, and I believe they may need to be reminded what it means to be a decent guest. Now, I am sorry to cut this short, but it seems that my work has called me, so I will be taking them with me out of your hair, and we will be dealing with this disciplinary infraction.
Well, what kind of priest of Siglik would I be if I could not handle a little wind?
I get it, because they're all about structure.
Hey!
Willem does not get it. He's just like, I appreciate your understanding. And he turns back to his men. If y'all gonna keep carrying on the fool and start walking, and we'll see what comes of you next. Get out, get! And he starts like pushing them up the stairs back onto the bluff. The men are all just kind of looking like from Willem to the group, and like things have suddenly gotten like very awkward and tense. A couple of them very quickly like scoop one more bowl of gumbo out of the pot before like following the the rest of the men back up the stairs, and they make their way past the shack towards the wagon. And you see some of them piling in. Some of them are like getting cloaks and throwing them over their shoulders, pulling their hoods up, lighting torches, and very clearly getting ready to go. And Willem is like kind of walking between them, very, very irritated. He's like getting in a couple of their faces and like in a real low, raspy growl, just laying into them. You can see it. They kind of like shirk away, like look down at the ground, don't meet his gaze. And this goes on for a few minutes before the group is sort of assembled around this wagon, torches lit. And he kind of turns back to the five of you where y'all are gathered and says to you all, well, I am sorry to leave you like this. This was shaping up to be a beautiful evening, but seems I've got to turn my cart around and go home. Y'all have a wonderful night. Noel, it was lovely seeing you. Do hope y'all enjoy the rest of your evening.
Actually, Willem, I'm sorry. Before you go, could I talk to you for a moment?
I kind of gesture over to sort of like behind the shack or somewhere a little bit more private.
He gets a big smile on his face. He's like, oh, of course, anything. He turns back to the boys. He's like, you stay right here.
Can I say to Noel, let me know?
What? Sorry, what?
I said I'll say, let me know if you need anything.
I'll do my best. Don't worry. I think this will be quick.
You forgot to add babe.
Oh, babe, let me know if you need anything. The small
Can do, babe.
will come to you.
Nailed it. All right, so Noel, you lead Willem around the side of the shack. What can I do for you, ma'am?
Look, I know you have to get going, and I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry your men are being so disrespectful, but I just
You know
wanted
what happened.
I know that you are a busy person, so I know that you can't stick around for everything. But I just wanted to say that I really enjoyed talking to you, and if you ever want to find me, I am down in Goshefheim.
In where?
Goshefheim, whatever it's called.
Oh, okay. Okay, so the one south of Handelar?
Yeah, which is where me and Burberry ran into each other.
Right. Okay. He gets this very surprised expression on his face. He's kind of suppressing a smile. Lets out a low whistle. It's like, well, aren't you forward?
Well, let me just say that me and my friend well, it's not exactly a close relationship.
Can I roll for percent?
Calm down. Don't worry. I'm getting this. Let me do my thing.
This
This fake relationship with my life. What?
Okay.
We had something real.
Noel, persuasion check, alluring, insight check.
Wait, I'm not done with my spiel. 1 second.
Okay, finish your spiel.
Okay. So when he reacts to that, however he reacts,
Okay.
I'm gonna say,
But of course, I want to make sure that you can find me. And I know you said you had a trick earlier, a little bit of magic, and admittedly, I have a little bit of my own. If you'd be okay with me showing you.
He gets a somewhat what's the expression I'm thinking of? Like
Flustered.
not flustered, but like
Horny?
incredulous.
he definitely looks horny.
I know that look.
He has this slightly incredulous, maybe like a hint suspicious at that, just at the mention of like casting some magic. But he does regard you as a friend, so it's more like his curiosity has been piqued. He just kind of narrows his eyes, that smile opens up. He sees like these big, like tombstone teeth in his mouth, just real unpleasant looking smile. And he says, "Well, go on."
I'll take out my my poetry book and I'll start flipping through pages, and I'll say,
This is actually a spell I came up with myself. It will allow us to find each other wherever we are.
I'll cast Charm Person again.
Okay,
He'll just
go
hear me.
ahead and give me a. Oh, he has to make the check.
Yeah, he's got to make a Wisdom saving throw.
Okay. Looks like a failure. What's the DC?
15.
Yep, that's a failure. So you have re-upped Charm Person, and he kind of blinks his eyes, looks around, he's like, "Did it work? I don't feel much different."
I think so. It takes a little bit of time to start, but I think you'll start feeling it tomorrow.
He smiles and nods. He says, "Well, aren't you just full of surprises, Miss Noel?"
I hope we see each other again soon.
I give him a pat on the shoulder.
You pat him on the shoulder, and he like steps up to you, like very close, and like wraps a hand around your waist, and almost like grabs you like he's like starting a waltz almost, you know? Taking the other hand.
Can a Lauren see this?
If you want to be watching, that's fine.
No, it's fine. Go on.
And he is going to lean in for a kiss.
I will
Fuck him.
I will put as he leans in, I'll put a finger between our lips so they don't touch,
Ooh.
and I'll say,
Okay.
When you're in Goshefheim, and where it doesn't smell like fish guts.
So his pursed lips are against your finger, and again the smile breaks and widens, and he just kind of chuckles to himself. He says, "Right you are, ma'am, right you are. I do look forward to the day we meet again. Until then, Noel." And yeah, he breaks the hug, still holding one hand, which he pulls up to his mouth, kisses the back of your hand again, and then steps away, turns back to his men. And over his shoulder, he just says, "Au revoir," and returns back to the wagon, and without any regard to the rest of the party, just addressing his men, he's like, "All right, now meet on here," and smacks the back of one of the horses. And the wagon pulls off of the side of the road and continues on its way, heading north, and disappears into the dark. Just the faint lights of their torches, the only sign of their passage up ahead.
I will just walk back to the party and I'll just say,
Oh, he is going to hate me in an hour.
Can I make a smart remark and be like, "Am I not good enough for you?"
mean,
I promise you
he might-
definitely you are good enough for me, Lauren, but we had to get him out of our hair.
He might hate you in an hour, but I'm liking you a little more all the time.
No one needs to watch as they leave and then follow them from like a good distance behind.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a stealth check then, John. Do you want to just break off from the party and just head off? No word?
Before I start following them, I guess I'll...
We cannot hear you,
What? You can't hear me?
Yeah, you're very
Probably
quiet.
but you just cut out real bad.
I'll move the mic even closer. It's literally like sitting on my chest right now. So I guess I'll walk
Just
over to the
eat
group
the mic.
and be like, "Y'all, I've got a quest going on, and I'm pretty sure those are the people I'm after. So I'm gonna have to follow them." It was nice meeting you.
All that work we did to get rid of them.
Oh, I'm not bringing them back. I gotta follow them.
I mean, I don't think Noel should be anywhere near that guy.
Yes, he is not going to like me in 59 minutes.
You just need to follow them, nothing else.
Well, so I'm pretty sure they're the ones that most likely robbed and killed one of my guild members. So, kind of need to follow them and find out where they're at, and then I can bring the guild in to subdue them and get everything back.
That is a bit of a conundrum.
So, it's just my quest, so I'm not going to ask you all to risk yourselves.
And after all that work you guys helped me with, I feel like I should at least help you as well.
Well, frankly, I had to use a lot of my magic just to get him away from us. I'm not sure how much help I would be in any kind of scuffle.
Oh, like I said, I don't feel right bringing civilians into a quest for the Adventures Guild, so I just wanted to let you all know that I'll be following them from a distance here.
So just to out of character clarify, you are just following them, or you intend to engage?
I am just planning on following them to their hideout or wherever they end up so that I can take that information to the Adventures Guild and have either they'll send out a party to subdue them or I'll lead a party to subdue them, I guess.
I suppose if you are not wanting to engage, I am fairly good at staying in the shadows when I have to be.
Like I said, it's an Adventures Guild thing. I mean, if you want to come along, I won't stop you, but it's not something I'm going to ask you to get involved in.
Well, speaking plainly, if the main man is anything to go by, I suspect he'll be in
Insert name here that can't remember in the next couple of days, if only to give the lovely Noelle a black eye. Because that's where she said she would be.
Oh, Goshafine?
There we go.
Okay.
Well, I assume he's got to take his supplies back to wherever they're going to drop them off. And that would be a good place to have the guild take them into custody. Or if I'm wrong about them and they actually are tax collectors, which I doubt, then I can stop following them and move on to my next target.
Oh, they are definitely not tax collectors, based on what I saw.
I think so, but
Wait, they ain't?
No, I'm sorry, Barnaby, but the badge he showed me was quite fake.
You mean to tell me I've been giving them barrels of fermented fish for almost a year?
It would seem that
say
way.
anything without seeing him before, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it's not a legitimate tax collector, Barnaby.
Well, just laying out facts, I just know that I should probably not be here tonight. I think if he was smart, he would probably come back to try and, attack us.
Well,
So if being
not-
with you is safer than being here, which it very well might be, that maybe is the better course.
as I see it, I have three options based off my quest. I can follow them, I can head to my destination and speak with the guild there, or I can head back home and speak with the guild at my home. We have enough information to at least suggest that they are the bandit group responsible for taking out the guild member. So we can always search the area for them, even if I don't follow them.
I would not mind staying at a guild potentially tonight.
Oh, there's no way we're gonna make it to a guild tonight. It's
Out of character. I forget how far it is. Is it a week
It's a little less than a week, yeah.
to either city?
Yeah. So John, I think you've walked this road a couple times. You know that it's like a 2-week journey from Freeport to Handelar. And Barnaby is pretty much smack dab in the middle of the road that way. Like it's a week in either direction to the major cities. And
Well,
is like a day or two closer to where you are.
I'll explain that to the group.
All right. I'm trying to think of a way to do this. So perhaps rather than following you there, what if well, I know Burberry wishes to join me still, I believe at least. But Barnaby and Lauren, I don't know how safe it is for you here if he comes back.
Perhaps you should go on hiatus for a couple of weeks.
Barnaby's pulling out his crossbow and loading up a bolt. No, I got another idea.
And what is that idea, Barnaby?
Show him what happens when you mess with Southern hospitality.
Assume we could track them. They have a cart, so it's gonna make tracks. So we don't necessarily have to stay close to them. We just have to stay within a reasonable distance where we can pick up their tracks.
Not to sound unintelligent, but after Noel's spell wears off, what's going to stop them from simply turning around?
That was my
I
worry.
mean, it's not like he's gonna suddenly change his mind, right? It's just that in the moment he was persuaded to leave for a while.
It doesn't quite work like that. Once the magic wears off, he's aware that it happened.
Is he?
Gonna realize he'd been had, just like I
he
just
will be
realized
aware
I've been
that it
had.
tricked him, which is why I'm definitely not staying here tonight.
Oh, which one do you want to do? Do you want to try following him, or do you want to head to either
Well,
big
that's
city?
that is what we're trying to say. Following him would be kind of moot, considering he's probably just going to turn around and come back.
All right, let's do this. 2 groups. Let's split the party.
Oh, God.
Fucker.
Okay, here's what I'm thinking. Those of you who do not feel like you are comfortable chasing him down or following to gain information, then we will maybe travel for an hour more off the road and set up a camp. Those of you who do wish to follow his cart tracks and get more information, follow him for a ways, and you'll know that we are camped out nearby this place, but not here specifically. And we can try to
travel
meet
together,
back up.
set up a camp, and then the trackers keep going.
Yeah, so basically, like, we set up, we say, like, okay, we're just going to go straight west from the shack, like, 2 hours.
Okay.
And then John and Barnaby, whoever wants to track down their cart, can go do that, while whoever wants to stay behind can join us in the camp, and then Barnaby and John know where the camp is if they want to rejoin.
That's my thing. Is
Okay.
if he's just going to come back, I mean, if you're sure he's just going to come right back, then there's not much point in following.
After what
I
I said,
mean-
he will definitely come back.
It's not
He
cool.
he also did give an entire speech about how he didn't want to travel all the way back after a week. It is a much shorter distance to walk for another hour than to walk the entire
So-
distance, right?
We should probably hightail it in the opposite direction that he's headed.
Well, I would still like to go north, but wait, is he going north?
Yeah, they were going north along the
Okay.
road.
I would still like to
They-
go north eventually, but perhaps we just head like west for a ways, just to stay off the.
City I was headed to is south of here, right?
You what? Sorry.
City that I'm headed to,
Is south.
Kandahar, is south.
Yeah. So,
So-
John, you have been traveling south for the past week. Noel and Burberry have been traveling north for the past week along the same road. Willem just left with that cart and his men heading north. And he told you that his lord lives in the mountains to the west of here.
Well, you know what the name of the lord that he gave you was, right?
Yes, he told me it was Renascence.
So, I mean, I think what we should do is we should continue where I was headed to Handlar, which is the opposite direction of where they're headed, and then meet up with the guild at Handlar and get information on this person, and maybe even get some additional assistance in taking this person down.
Well, that would be backtracking for us, but that does seem like a safe option.
And we wouldn't want to head north and head towards him.
Yes, that's true.
If we head west, we're just going to hit forest, which is pretty dangerous.
I am okay with this plan, but you don't get to track them then.
Well, I mean, if he's just going to double back, there's not much point in tracking him.
Does anyone have any other?
Plus, I've already got a sizable amount of information that will help the guild track him down.
Well,
Do you have any thoughts? No.
None of this pertains to my character's backstory, so not really.
Aloran could technically just.
this.
Aloran could literally just jump into the ocean and be gone.
Yeah,
Like,
honestly.
she has the safest exit.
It's true. That is true. You could swim away.
say bye, guys.
And Lauren leaves the camp. Okay, cool. I did that drawing for nothing.
New character.
New character every session. Here we go.
But I don't know.
I think heading to.
Where are they located? The people I'm trying to get to.
You're okay. So the wardens are in Freeport.
Yeah, I want to go there.
Freeport is the way he's heading, though.
Currently, yeah, that was the direction that he left along. That was also where Noel and Burberry were heading.
I wouldn't have minded heading that way, but that's where he's heading.
Okay. You said there was an adventurers guild in Freeport too?
There's an adventurers guild in most cities around here.
Okay, what if we stay off the road for, say, 3 hours of travel and go north?
Well, my city, my hometown's a little bit closer to us than Freeport. And I know the forest around this area to some degree. So, I mean, we could head through the forest north and try to avoid the major road.
If I may, and this is more for keeping the party together instead of all splitting off in multiple directions for Laura or for Chani.
The party is very dangerous.
Yes. I don't know if you are aware of the god of marks, but considering that Barn Abbey was nice enough to aid you in your time of suffering, perhaps it would be good etiquette to return the favor. Favor.
I've been doing that when I've been there.
Doing chores.
Doing chores. What are you trying to say? That's hurtful.
Alora looks a little offended.
I am saying that perhaps sharing in the suffering of others might aid you in your quest further down the line. Or if you help them now, perhaps they might help you in yours later.
I said I wasn't gonna help anybody.
We're
I'm
intrigued.
just feeling very targeted right now.
We saw you
Like-
we saw you longingly looking at the ocean.
That's why I started it by saying out of character. I'm sorry.
Okay. The character player just feels real offended.
Noel, I think you can see that your new girlfriend is maybe a little put off by Burberry saying.
It sounds like more of us want to go north.
Barnaby, have I not been a courteous guest at your shack?
You have been a wonderful guest. I'm happy to have had you.
You.
Uh,
See, Burberry, I help.
I've and he starts like Burberry starts to talk. He goes, I've
I've been informed I've been informed that what I have said might be construed as rude, and I apologize. Yes, I apologize.
Okay. Was there any body language that she could read off of that to maybe clarify since she can't see your face?
so like
Can I roll to see if it's disingenuous?
Go ahead and roll it, right?
Oh shit! I rolled a 3.
totally genuine.
You barely know this guy. It's hard to say. But you were saying Burberry body language. I'm curious.
Okay, so like whenever he said he goes I and there's that long pause, his head like tilts a little bit.
Okay.
And then he kind of like whenever it continues, he kind of half nods and then puts his hand on his chest and does that awkward bow that he did before he started his speech.
Okay.
I will take that as a real apology
Okay.
because he seems a little awkward as a person.
Like, oops.
Um, and I'll say, I see that you mean no offense, or yeah, did not mean to offend, but I do like to go to Freeport. But if we could eventually make our way there, that's all I want.
Well, it sounds like Handler or Freeport. Which way do we go?
Because if we go to Freeport, we can still
Um,
do all the kill all the birds with one stone.
can I do a history check on which city is older?
Sure. Give me a history check.
Cool. 13?
A 13. I don't think that's high enough to know the exact like founding dates of either of these cities, to gauge that. I will say that you do know the Emerald Coast region in general is a younger, quote unquote, area than the rest of Lythor. It's like it's the most recently settled in like the past 200 years versus the past 3 or 4. It's not something that you have the exact information on though.
Apologies, I do not have the map open, so I don't know which city is in which thing off the top.
Handlebar is south, and then Freeport is
As
north.
far as I understand, we're like right in the middle of them.
Yeah.
Well, no, I meant like compared to the Emerald Coast. Like I don't know where the
Oh, they're kind of in the middle of the coast, honestly. Like the
Where that, like, the big bay almost circle was.
well, my vote would be whichever
area is deemed as older, in quotation marks, like the full thing.
I mean, they're not. Uh,
John know which
there's
one
not
was
a
older.
substantial difference in age as far as you know of these two cities. You just have a general notion that the Emerald Coast is a younger region than, say, the Midlands or the Zaxa.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what I was missing. As I said, I don't have the map open, so I was like, wait, okay, all right, all right. Anyway,
I am perfectly fine either way. Yes, both sound fun and exciting.
Good either way.
Uh,
Do we want to vote on this then?
that might be the fastest way to do it. Whoever said that.
Oh, that's appropriate. No, all right. I'm just since we're kind of petering down here. Let's put this to a vote then.
All right.
Who wants to go to Freeport?
Out of character, my vote is Freeport if we travel for like 3 hours in the woods just to avoid the dudes.
Okay.
Lauren is in agreement.
Okay. Well, Lauren will second that.
I'm gonna abstain because he doesn't care.
Okay. So we have 2 votes for and 1 vote who cares.
2 votes for who cares, so that means we're going to Freeport.
Deciding vote. Any input?
Oh, well, let me grab some stuff. I guess we can head towards them. That's my preferred. Don't really take kind to people who take advantage of me.
I recommend if we are heading to Freeport, we stop off in Helmfirth first.
That's fine.
Yeah,
by
it's
me.
on the way. That's fine.
If it helps Barnaby, he will probably be in massive trouble because he will have to return with only half.
Okay. So the party is heading for Freeport then. Barnaby, you said you wanted to get some stuff.
Yes.
What do you
Got a
want?
few things I got to get.
Assume I'm leading us through the forest.
At least somewhere, a ways off the road, just so we're not like, if they do turn around immediately and drive back, we're not just like walking up.
Okay.
So I suggest we go through the forest at least.
Okay.
So forest. You could also go along the beach. That's also a valid option.
Could we
to stay off the road.
stealth along the beach?
If you stay close to the bluff, since it does kind of rise about 5 or 6 feet up, you could stay out of line of sight from the road if you wanted to stealth.
That
on the
might
Or
be
beach.
did you say 5 or 6 feet?
I will say there will be much less cover on the beach if you are seen versus the forest. That would probably be the big trade-off.
Also, we happen to have 2 people over 6 feet.
Yeah, so you'll have to kind of hunker down.
You'll just crawl the however many miles we walk.
Yeah, I think the forest is the better option.
I mean, okay, just out of character, in the interest of moving this forward, do we know the threats of the forest? Does John know the threats of the forest?
And John is regularly going in the forest, but
John,
he
yeah,
also
John can give me a history check.
survival check.
Or yeah, either or.
Okay. Survival. Ah, crap, that wasn't a very good roll. 11.
11. Okay. You know for sure there's wolves. There's I mean there's a pretty wide variety of wildlife in those woods. It's very verdant and green, and lots of creatures can support themselves there. You've heard, there are bears deeper in. Like mountain lions up in the mountains. You've heard stories of large spiders that live in the deep, dark portions of the woods. Nothing like super outlandish, comes to mind?
Basically, as long as we stay towards the edge of the forest, we'll be relatively safe. Maybe a few wolf issues, but
Yeah, I mean, pretty standard predatory issues.
I suppose between that and being out in the open on the beach, it's probably preferable.
my cart here, aren't I?
All right. Sounds
So
like
we have a
it's
plan?
decided.
All right. Barnaby, do you have anything that you want to do before you leave your shack?
Closed for renovations.
Yeah, write a quick sign. Be back in 5
months.
John's gonna take his
No context. It's 5.
Yep, just 5.
Gotcha.
Could be 5 minutes. Could be 5 months. Who knows?
John's gonna take his cart down to the beach and like along the bluff a bit and just kind of try to hide it a bit.
So you just want to kind of like move it down away from the shack then, and just kind of tuck it into the bluff.
Yeah, hopefully, or hoping that they don't like break it or burn it or.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Go ahead and give me a dexterity check, I guess, to try and conceal it.
16.
16. Okay, I'll say you like dig out a little portion of the bluff to kind of like tuck it into. It's not hard because it's pretty soft earth. So there, you get like a small nook, and then you kind of pull at the bluff and like dredge some ground and dirt down on top of it to kind of bury it a little bit. And it by the time you're done, it's pretty well obscured from view. Really hard to notice, but not so buried that it's like impossible to dig out.
Yeah. So, I guess we're heading out.
All right.
I was gonna say Barnaby will also grab spices, put them in bags, just kind of pack up real quick all of his necessities.
Okay. So
Burberry takes his bowl of gumbo.
one last bowl of gumbo for the road. Do you take the big pot with you too, or do you leave it on the fire?
Of course, I'll take the pot. How else
All
am I gonna make more gumbo?
The Barnaby grabs this big hot pot off the fucking fire, and he's like carrying this thing with him in front of him, like just hauling his big hot gumbo.
While Barnaby's packing up his stuff, I'll just go into the shack real quick, and
Okay.
I'll just say,
Barnaby, I don't know how that would have gone had none of us said anything, but I apologize if I made things harder for you.
Oh, don't worry about that. You know what? I'm kind of glad you ended up visiting. We never learned he'd been a snake in the grass unless you did.
I'm glad you see it that way. Is there anything I can help you pack?
Quite a few things now that you mention it.
sure.
Uh-oh.
Just dump shit into your arms.
I'm not that strong. Yeah, I'll help him get his stuff together as best as I can.
That's right. Then, in short order, you guys have packed up your things. So you probably stood out front talking for about 15, maybe 20 minutes, deliberating what to do. Very quickly scrambling to get all your shit together. And after half an hour to 40 minutes, y'all are packed and on your way. So go ahead and give me a stealth check as a group as you guys kind of step into the forest off the road and begin to make your way quietly and sneakily northward.
15 total.
15?
You forget I'm
At
muted.
20 plus 4.
19.
Okay. 18?
19.
19.
14.
14? Burberry.
I'll just be over here with my 9.
Oof.
It was a group check.
It was a group,
I got a nat 20 plus 4.
it was a group check. So even though Burberry is maybe not the most coordinated member of the party, trying to move quietly and carefully through the trees, robes getting snagged on bushes and the like, seeing Burberry struggle, you guys kind of like fold in around him and just kind of slowly like just kind of shepherd him through the woods. And as a group, you
No,
guys,
the Lord is my shepherd, but I guess my group will do.
well, you need more shepherds than just him, apparently.
That. Yeah, that's the real reason that I'm.
I just assume John's like in front of the party, just moving everything out of the way.
But quietly. And
Well,
yeah,
I'm
you
not-
guys are making your way north, parallel to the road, just inside the tree line, and making pretty okay time. Um, After about 5 minutes of walking, maybe 10, you guys do reach that river that kind of runs out of the woods, not too far from Barnaby's shack. Um, it's plenty shallow here that you could cross it without issue. Further up, it gets a little deeper. And that's mostly where you do most of your fishing, Barnaby. Um, as you
Wait,
guys
how shallow are we talking here?
like fordable, like you could walk it. It maybe covers ankles to shins.
Okay.
So my
It's
shins. And
yeah,
John's fingers.
yeah. It's not deep, like a couple feet at most. Um, Very easy to walk across. Um, as you guys approach the river, could I get a perception check from you guys?
19 total.
Ooh, okay.
Also got a 19.
13.
13, 19,
13.
14, 9. Good old Barnaby's and
2 19s.
9. Yeah, so with those 19s, John and Noel and Lauren, and Burberry, what was yours again?
14.
Okay, yeah, all of you would actually notice this except for Barnaby then. You actually, before you hit the river, you actually step into a portion of the forest where the ground is relatively clear. It's maybe like a 5 or 6 foot gap in the trees, and it doesn't immediately hit you that like you're standing in this clear, but like you kind of glance to your side and realize, oh, it's perfectly clear all the way down to the road. And you look back the other way and you're like, it's clear down that way too, and kind of realize that you're on this like sort of hidden little trail. The ground is not like a dirt path. It's still pretty overgrown with like grass and moss and stuff, but you can see looking down that there are actually rut marks in the dirt.
No.
There's this very faint sort of like wagon trail, it looks like,
Tell how recent.
running east-west from the road.
Well, there you go, John.
Am I able to tell how recent it is?
Give me a survival check.
21.
How much?
21.
21. Damn.
17 plus 4.
So with a 21, I will say that you can see the path itself looks like it's fairly old and not too frequently traveled. Because it's pretty overgrown, but it's present. And you can see that pretty recently, a wagon and several individuals have made their way along this path. In the dirt where it's exposed, you can see many footprints.
Am I able to tell which direction they were headed? East or west?
They were. You can actually see footprints heading in both directions, and it's actually pretty hard to say more recent because they both seem fairly fresh.
Looks like this is the route that they take into the woods, we can't tell if they just took this or if they're still on the main road.
I'd be willing to bet they just took
Definitely
it.
didn't see them on the main road.
Are you saying no?
I said I'd be willing to bet that they just went down this path, which means we should keep heading north.
Should we head out to the main road and continue north?
I'm not
Mr. Pace?
that confident. I think we should stay in the toy line, but let's just keep going the plan.
Let's keep heading north through the forest then.
All right. So making note of the path, you continue onwards through the woods up to the river, ford it without much issue. The water is very cold, and get back into the tree line on the other side and continue northward. And how long do you guys want to go doing this?
Probably at least
I
like
think we said 3 hours.
yeah, it's
right?
like at least a couple hours, just so we know that if they like further than if they had like stopped to turn around or mid camp or whatever, we would have logically have passed them at this point.
Sure. Okay. So give it a couple hours then.
Yep.
The sun by this point has fully and completely set. It is now dark as pitch outside.
God damn it.
There is still some faint cloud cover, spotty, but where there are breaks in the clouds, you can see stars overhead. The lack of light makes the stars, where they appear, extremely bright and vibrant against the night sky. Noelle, you definitely are probably struggling a little bit with the darkness, but you do have a group of dark vision.
I'll just hold Lauren's hand. She'll just pull me through the forest.
She's making a lot of noise. She could always like rat on my shoulders.
He's holding, so Noelle is going to depend on you to guide her, since you can see in the dark.
Maybe we are.
Yeah, an hour passes, and then another, and the moon begins to rise up over the mountains, and it's beginning to get pretty late. You guys are starting to feel that tiredness sweeping over you. Eyes are growing heavy. And in all this time, you have seen no sign of Willem or his men.
And by this point, logically, if they were on the road, we probably would have passed them, or at least seen a sign of them.
Yep.
Okay, well that answers
Unless they have been moving along the road at the same pace.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but so far, no sign of them. So, what do you guys want to do at this point? Make camp?
I think so.
Probably a little bit off of this path.
Okay. So, as far as camping arrangements, what's the plan? Is there going to be a fire? Are you guys erecting tents?
I'm gonna say no fire is probably wise tonight.
I'm in a tent.
I don't know if I have a tent.
Of which loud slurping noises can be heard from.
It is. You get used to it.
Well, no, it's the gumbo.
Oh, okay. I thought you just did that every night for some reason. Yeah, I guess I'm just throwing out a bedroll, trying to lean it up between a couple trees or something.
Bedroll as well.
Trying to stay warm.
Setting up his hammock between a couple trees.
All right. The weather's not terrible. It's cool, probably like 60-ish.
Cold doesn't affect me.
Yeah, you actually do have cold resistance, so you are not really phased at all by cold weather, unless it's like bitingly cold. But even then,
Tom's got like this really nice setup.
Yeah.
He's got like a big old hammock. Starts out. He's got his bedroll on top of the hammock.
Do the trees like bow inwards?
If they're small, they do for sure. I think
I think
John's
we'll find a
big
couple of really sturdy ones.
up camp is he has to find big enough trees. But yeah, what do you do with your hammock if there aren't any trees, John?
saves on the ground.
I don't know what I expected.
Yeah.
He's got a bedroll too.
He turns the hammock into a tent.
It's expecting more exciting outcomes, so like he dug a hole and like
Suspend the hammock.
just suspend it, yeah.
All right. Well, with that, then the party is setting up camp. Is anyone going to keep watch tonight?
I can do that.
All right. Burberry on watch. Or yeah, Burberry.
Do we take turns on them?
So the way that resting like this works, yeah, you will need to take 2-hour shifts of watch if you want to get the benefit of your rest in, because you need the other 6 hours to sleep.
I'll take the next two.
We're gonna watch
One
then
after that.
Barnaby.
We should try to have
I'll take the final or the early morning.
John will take the last watch. Okay. All right. So with camp made and a watch rotation set up, you guys tuck in for the night, and that is where we are going to call it for the first session of Renascence. You
Can I
guys
make a side
on
comment?
the run from Willem Grimes and his men after enchanting him.
Can I make a side comment?
Yeah.
If Noel asks Burberry where he got sicklick from, he would comment, "I would never do I would never be as disingenuous as to preach a god in a negative manner." So sicklick does not exist.
So you just made up a god to proselytize.
One should never say that a god is boring. That's blasphemy.
You're right.
Touche. And with that, Burberry starts their watch. So yeah, that's where we're gonna leave off for the night, guys. Good game.
Yay! New
No
campaign!
combat, no
We did.
avoided a fight.
Can I make one more comment?
Yeah, no, we're wrapping up here. We can speak
To
freely.
Noel,
What's up?
little wink.
A little wink? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I'll
Oh my
just
God, is the
I'll give it.
relationship real.
I'll give a little nod back.
Just waiting for her to like get off her watch and snuggle in with Noel.
Oh my god, cold!
It's so chilly.
Roll
at some point in
deception.
the night, Noel, you feel this like sleek, somewhat chilly like skin kind of press up against your back.
You are quite
No, I'm
cold.
not doing it. I'm not doing that.
Oh, okay, fine.
It's gonna be
But Lauren thinks about it.
She does think about it.
As I said, she takes this fake relationship very seriously.
Apparently.
You gotta get into character.
You guys
He was
have-
just taking advantage of the situation to get in with Noel.
Well, she's also trying to find a distraction. So
That's fair.
she's
I am good
I
at
do
distracting people.
Yeah, good job. So,
I love you all.
Yeah, these are great. Great.
yeah, this is a great group of characters. Oh, actually, before I fucking forget,
Yes.
so to wrap up the session, we should give away some support points.
I
for everyone
vote Pete. I vote Pete for inspo.
who did some. Oh,
Lauren and Noel definitely.
all right, yeah, Aloran and Noel definitely have a point together now. That's definitely
Cool,
for sure.
cool.
Beautiful.
clean.
I think that Noel and Burberry probably have one at this point too. They got some good RP.
Cool.
I'd say John and Barnaby probably got a good one in.
Is there a way to track these?
Actually, yes, I have a table. I can.
Got it on my sheet.
I think I put it in your tables actually. Yep.
I got
Which is
mine.
it under?
Which page?
It should be on
Class and
the
racial
Main
features.
page.
yeah, the second tab.
Oh, yep.
The second tab? Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
is it just a point?
Yeah. So Aloran and Noel have a point together. Noel and Burberry have a point together, and I'd say that John and Barnaby have a point at this point.
Cool.
And then
And I totally did peek at your cards whenever you left.
Fair enough.
all right. So and then as a group, we want to nominate MVP to get a point of inspiration for next session.
Noel!
Oh well.
Noel.
Well, yeah.
I'd agree.
All right, that's fair.
Cool. Thank
So
you.
Noel, take your inspiration.
I will do that. Thank you, guys.
You were working it, girl.
I got all this charisma. I got to do something
Working
with it.
that sleazy, grimy man.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to when he comes back.
What are you talking about? You charmed him. He's not a part of the story.
He's
You got
gone
you
forever.
You'll never see him again.
Ugh.